Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our family leisure studios. Landon Schmidt producing. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours. A ton to get to this afternoon. We had just a stellar basketball game last night in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll talk a ton about that throughout today's show. Got to talk showboats a little bit later. Tonight, Game 2 in the Western Conference Finals. All the college baseball action. And we do have college football news as college football playoff. They are going to change the seeding format for this upcoming season. So much to get to over these next 3 hours. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Doing great, Brian. And we said it yesterday. We said cliche is for a reason. Things that are cliche. Well, here's the big cliche of today. Instant classic last night.
I mean, it was insane. It was incredible. And you know, we talked about it that we hoped this was going to be one of those series that is, you know, a long series back and forth. And after watching last night, it feels like one of those, both these teams have shown throughout the playoffs that they can come back from margins and deficits.
Remarkable result.
I mean, it really is. And so it feels like no lead is going to be safe in this series because, you know, if Indiana goes up and gets up double digits, well, we've seen New York come back from 20-point deficits. We saw last night New York get up double digits and Indiana storm back and come back and win. And so, you know, we've been talking a lot about how exciting this series could be, but Game 1 certainly lived up to the hype.
It did. In a place that's had classic boxing matches of a lot of serve and volley. I know I'm mixing metaphors here. I even went tennis.
What am I doing here? Basketball, boxing.
That building's had that,
sure.
And it had it last night. If we had script writers, we don't. We just play the games.
Yeah.
We just pull the ping pong balls. There's no script writers. There's no conspiracy. If we had it, other than the team that won, they couldn't have written a better script last night.
No, they couldn't. It's a great point by you because the NBA is rigged crowd is really having a ball with the lottery, how good these playoff games have been. I mean, it does feel like this is all scripted and that we're just kind of playing through like the NFL a couple years ago when everyone's saying, well, the script's out and all that. That's kind of what these playoffs, this postseason has been in the NBA. I'll be completely honest, and I was telling this to Elisha earlier today. When that game was going, I mean, a lot going on last night. We had a hockey game that was also crazy. We probably won't talk much about that, but that game was insane. You had the basketball that was insane at the end. Ole Miss was playing baseball last night against Florida. So when Tyrese Halliburton hits that shot at the buzzers, everything, they're celebrating all out on the court. I go, wow, that was crazy. Immediately flipped the channel to, I think the Ole Miss game is what I went back to. And I'm watching the Ole Miss game, and one of my buddies was texting me. We were texting back and forth about the game and the shot. And I go, well, round 1 of the clutch off goes to Tyrese Halliburton. And he goes, game's not done. And I go, what?
You thought it was a 3.
Oh, I thought it was. I had already changed channel. I went watching. I thought it was over. It was before they had even brought up, like, hey, they're going to review this.
I didn't leave it that quickly.
Oh, I left it as soon as I, like, came down from the, oh, wow, that was an incredible shot. I immediately changed it.
I think Tyrese Halliburton thought it was over, too.
He sure did. But, I mean, I missed probably the first two and a half minutes of overtime because I just didn't even know what was going on. And then immediately when I realized, I was like, oh, my gosh. And so thankfully, YouTube TV, you can either go live or you can go to the last time you were watching. And so I went back to the last time I was watching and saw, and I was like, oh my gosh, they reviewed it. His foot was on the line. It's a 2. And then watched the rest of the overtime. But
real time, I thought he got behind it, but he clearly did not.
No, clearly not. But it was an incredible play. It was one of those where you're going, oh, this is not a good matchup. You know, it's him and Mitchell Robinson. He's trying to get to the basket. And then you see him, you can watch him when he decides, I'm going to run and try to take a 3. And you're immediately going, no. And he throws it up, no. And then
the ball suspended in the air for a long time.
It was insane. I mean, the bounce that got off the rim was incredible.
Long enough for you to kind of be in suspended animation and then whatever reaction you had. It was a wow.
It was incredible. And so, Tyrese Halliburton was awesome last night. Neesmith was phenomenal in those closing minutes. I mean,
can he stay that hot?
3 after 3. I don't know if he can stay that hot from 3. He's been fantastic this entire playoffs.
He made more shots last night than he did in his entire Vandy career.
Oh, you're probably right about that. Vandy, what a team Vandy had that year.
Well, kind of.
Well, Scottie Pippen Jr. out there.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about him.
Saban Lee, who's still on a bench.
Garland hurt.
Garland was not playing that year. I mean, they had a handful of guys.
I forgot about Pippen, yeah.
Yeah, sure did. The only reason I know that, believe me,
Now, was that Bryce Drew or is that Jerry Stack?
I believe that would have been Drew.
End of Drew.
End of Drew. I believe
Last year
so.
of Drew.
I believe so.
Ofer in the league? No, I don't think they were Ofer.
I don't think so, but they weren't great. I can tell you that.
Very few wins.
I think so. Yeah, I believe that was. I'll look it up. But
Yeah.
I do think that was Drew's final year, or one of his final years there.
And every Neesmith jumper didn't even move the net.
It was incredible. I mean, those shot 8 for 9 from 3. I mean, it was
Squared up.
Can't miss.
Daggers.
It was incredible. And, I texted someone and said I wanted this to be a Brunson and Halliburton matchup going back and forth, but Neesmith will do. Like, he's fine for that role. I love it.
SEC expert, and he is. He was on the team that got Bryce Drew fired. Garland got injured, then Neesmith got injured at the start of conference play. I remember that now. Thank you, Chuck. There was someone else, too, that I can't think of. I guess that would be Pippen. It was crazy, the team he had and what could have been.
Yeah, no,
they had no patience for it.
That's right. It was a good team, and I saw a video someone posted a couple days ago, like in the Vanderbilt, like in their practice facility, and there's like a wall of like former guys that played at Vanderbilt that are now in the NBA, and like all those guys were like on that team. It's incredible because I mean you have those two guys. I think Saban Lee's still on a bench somewhere. He certainly was. He might not be anymore. He might be over in Europe playing. But they had some guys on that team, and just I couldn't put it together on the court. So, but he was a
little bit like Rutgers this year.
Oh yeah.
Or worse than that.
Well, worse for sure. But Rutgers issue. They had the high end talent of 2 players, and then just nobody else. I mean, that team was atrocious outside of those.
Classic setting last night.
That was awesome. It was awesome. I mean, I saw a bunch of videos.
I didn't see Spike Lee all night.
Really, I didn't see him on the broadcast.
I couldn't have been sitting by him.
Yeah,
I never saw him.
I'm trying to think.
You usually see him.
Oh, no, you absolutely see him. But I did see a lot of videos of the celebrities, arriving and walking in and like dapping each other up and like, let's go, Eastern Conference Finals. Like, it was fun last night.
And that's good for our business. Whatever you want to say about the NBA and ratings, I still say their comeback is $77 billion.
Yeah, they're not worried about what anybody has to say about ratings.
And in this world of rights fees, and it doesn't look like there's any end to it. Mm-mm. I've been hearing about the death of rights fees since the 80s.
Yeah.
And when CBS gave up on the NFL, and that's how Fox got in.
Jeez.
But that last night has to help business and TV ratings.
Oh, yeah. I mean, any time you can get a game like that, especially, when you've heard some of the narrative around, well, nobody wants Indiana in the NBA Finals. It's New York or bust. When you have a game like that, when I'm seeing now like a lot of people being like, I was wrong about this Pacers team. This Pacers team is fun.
It attracted
that.
people.
Yeah, that was huge. And so, to get people watching that, if you have to bring them in for the New York angle, but then they leave with the Indiana angle, then it's great for business.
I think through the conference semifinals, through the rounds that have been played now into the conference finals, I think they're averaging just around 4, kind of that same number set that first weekend.
Sure.
Remember Adam Silver, very proud of it, at that big Sports Business Journal conference in Nashville after the first weekend, which kind of held. We know it probably will double for the finals, regardless of who's in it.
Yeah,
I think it'll double at minimum.
Yeah,
and if it's New York, it could triple.
Certainly could. Yeah, and I mean, obviously,
could get up to like Yankees Dodgers World Series numbers.
Sure, no, absolutely. When you have New York in there, and obviously, even if you don't care about New York or the Knicks, people are going to watch with how rowdy that city
and should
is.
People care? I mean, sitting at home in Bartlett last night, do you really care what the TV number? If you like it, you want to watch it.
No, not at all. Yeah, you don't care at all. I mean, again, like you said, NBA don't care right now. Why should some random person care?
And whether there's one more person or 10 million more watching, the Grizzlies are still going to get their cut of the $77 billion.
Exactly. Yeah. So
what of it?
Win-win. You know, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And 2 thumbs up from the NBA.
Now, when I somewhat fight back, is when I have somebody start telling me that it nukes baseball. No, it does not. They're very much 1 year. One might get a little more over their playoff run, playoffs and World Series, than playoffs and NBA Finals. The next year, the other one might win a little more.
Yeah.
There's no arguing NFL. Nobody dares try that. Dares to try that. I don't need NBA guy telling me that it's bigger than college football. It's not even close.
No.
That's when I fight back.
Sure. Yeah.
But otherwise, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
What Mr. Nielsen says.
No. Who cares? At the end of the day, I mean, if NBA's getting their money, then they're in a good spot, and that's really all that matters if you're a fan of the NBA. But certainly these games that have been really, really fun to watch make it just it makes it better. And so these have been fun. We'll see what OKC and Minnesota do tonight in Game 2. Curious about that one because obviously it was Minnesota with the hot start, but just could not finish in Game 1. Curious to see how OKC comes out in Game 2 tonight. College football playoffs, it feels like they got something right for once, going to straight seeding for the 2025 season.
Straight seeding for this year, so you won't have Clemson
right,
or the ACC champion, I don't think, will have that designation like they had last year. Well, they won't. And I want straight seeding. I want automatic everybody being at larges. And it's not going to be going forward. The Big Ten and the SEC is going to work in their team spots, and they're going to take the really bad PR. I think, deservingly bad. Because they're both good enough in most years to get that without having to have the special language. But we're going to go to 16, and this is the first big step to more news this weekend and next weekend out of all these meetings. And this summer, we'll wrap up 16. 16 will be set, and I want it to be 1 through 16 when we get to it.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, it feels like this is the start of kind of the avalanche of college football news that's we've been waiting on.
And it takes the committee out of it a little bit.
Sure.
Because it will be the final ranking of the CFP.
That's right.
And that's less you lobby too hard, you didn't lobby enough, you had favoritism. No, we just went with the ranking.
Exactly. Just put the ranking. So Brett McMurphy was the one, at least the first I saw, to report it earlier today, that they'll go to straight seeding. That's what he said in his tweet. Top 4 seeds get first round buys regardless if they won the conference title or not. Sources said conference champs still get auto bids but are seeded based on ranking. So the biggest thing from last year's to this year would be Boise State. Instead of the 3, they would have been the 9 if we had used what we're going to use next year, last year, and then Arizona State would have been 11 rather than 4. So make some of those the top 4 from last year's bracket. If we had just done straight seeding, it would have been 1 Oregon, 2 Georgia. That was 1 and 2 last year. Texas, instead of being 5, they would have been 3, and then Penn State, instead of being 6, they would have been 4. Those 4 teams will get the first round bye this upcoming season, and then pretty close to normal with the rest. A little different. Pretty much everybody would move up 2 spots from where they were last year in this. So yeah, I like that a lot more. You're right. I mean, I don't think it's perfect, but it's better than getting Boise State or Arizona State that just they happen to win their conference and they get an automatic bye to the next round.
But we're still going to accommodate all 4 conference champions and the non-power 4.
That's correct.
And Notre Dame if eligible.
That's right.
So what you tell me what this would do? Bill Connolly's ESPN, SEC, ESPN list. He has Ohio State 1, Bama 2. This is his post-spring order.
Okay.
Ohio State 1, Bama 2, Penn State 3, Georgia 4, Texas 5, Notre Dame 6. So that would be your top 6?
That, pretty much, yeah, kind of.
If that's how it was at the finish?
Yeah.
Oregon 7, Clemson 8, LSU 9, Michigan 10, Ole Miss 11, Miami 12. So no non-power listed. So the first best one of them would be 12?
I believe so. They didn't say anything about, they automatically get a certain spot. I believe they would get the 12. But
oh no, No, we'd have to work in Big 12 in here.
That's right, exactly.
Kansas State at 18.
So that's exactly.
Ole Miss would be knocked out.
That's the only thing, and that's why I was trying to listen to see if we got every conference in there. But that would be the thing, is if you had straight seeding, the only thing that would be is that group of 5 if they're not. See, the thing is in last year's rankings, Boise State was 9, so they would have just gotten the 9 spot in the playoffs last year. But yeah, Kansas State, if they were the champion of the Big 12, they would have to find a spot in there somewhere.
So on-campus games would be 5 against 12, right?
Yep, that's right.
So that would be Texas against Navy, BYU,
Sure, somebody
or
like that.
Boise, not BYU. 6 against 11 would be Notre Dame against Kansas State. 7-10, Oregon, Michigan. 8-9, a rematch opening night, Clemson, LSU.
Sounds fun. Sounds really fun.
I don't think I could go through it if Ole Miss finished 11th and was knocked out by the Big 12 rep and the non-power.
Yeah. I believe,
I can't go through another Christmas holidays like that.
Yeah, I believe, that those I know all 4 conference champions from the Power Conference are in there, and I believe that the one group of 5 is still in there. So yeah, you would.
Here's the simple remedy: go win games.
That's right. Yeah, that's a great point. So
don't leave it up to the jury.
Exactly. And so, like you said, it feels like we're going to be getting a lot of news over the weekend and into next week that kind of gives us a better idea of the future of the college football playoff.
One other college football story: the White House they're really pumping the brakes on the federal commission to fix college athletics. They're now waiting for legislation.
Yeah. So,
Commissioner Nick Saban, not so fast.
Well, he was trying to pump the brakes last week.
He
with
was.
Paul Feinbaum.
He did.
So that he definitely saw that coming, I guess. But we got a busy show today. Let me set it up before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Steve Macy from the Showboats. He'll join us. We'll talk some Showboats. A win last Friday night as they'll be back at home Saturday morning, 11 a.m. against the Renegades. We will talk about that game. We'll talk about last week's win as well over San Antonio. We'll do that in our next segment. 3:45, we'll talk NBA playoffs. We'll talk a little bit more about last night's game, the thriller in MSG, and then we'll preview Game 2 tonight between Minnesota and OKC. 4 o'clock, Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. We'll talk more NBA with him. We'll break down both of these series with Keith and get to some other news. The big NBA news today, the Nuggets have made it official. Interim David Adelman will be the permanent head coach. So another team sticking with the interim like we've seen the Spurs did, the Grizzlies did, Sacramento did. So it feels like that was the trend this year, and it's going to continue to hold with Denver. We'll get Keith's thoughts on that and a lot more from the NBA at 4 o'clock. 4:30, we'll talk some baseball. Another day of baseball galore around the country, whether it's college or Major League Baseball. Plenty of action all over the place.
What time did they start this morning in the A10?
The A10 was, I think, 9 a.m., maybe?
No. I checked the scores.
Really?
I was looking for schedule, and I saw in progress, maybe at the top of the first played. It was 7:52.
Really?
Central Time, they were rolling.
Really?
They started at 7:30? I think the MAC started that early, too.
I don't know. I know I saw a handful of games starting at 8, but I didn't know.
Well, that would be 8:30 for both of them,
sure.
Their time, but.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about how early those games started this morning, but it has been a lot of early baseball for some of these teams. I mean, we mentioned it the other day. Cal coming from the West Coast and playing at 8 a.m. Central Time, so that was 9 a.m. in Durham, but 6 a.m. for their body clock. So it has been early mornings and long nights for a lot of these teams and a lot of these conferences. But we'll talk baseball at 4:30. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Greg Gaston will join us to talk Tigers. Plenty to talk about with him. Curtis Givens committed earlier this week. Dante Harris entered the transfer portal yesterday. We'll talk about all of that. Also talk some football. We mentioned it yesterday. Memphis's win total set at 8.5. Third best odds to win the American behind Tulane and Navy. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. At 5:45, wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's pool time, and Family Leisure is already booking pool installs for 2025. Buy now and get on the list for your pool installation. 2024 pools starting at $19.99 installed with liners starting at $299. All pool accessories up to 20% off and 5 to 6 person hot tubs starting at $69.99 and swim spas and cold plunge tubs now $2,000 off. Don't forget about patio furniture. Select sets now up to 50% off. And if you mention this ad, get free installation only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
We are Sports Time. He's Bryant. I'm Brett. We're produced by Landon Schmidt, and we're with you until 6 o'clock. We want you to be a part of our show by texting or calling 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. All our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. Always from our Family Leisure Studios. And this hour brought to you every day by the great people at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2025 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but they want you to stop by the only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day has got to be the Pacers' 138-135 win over the Knicks in overtime. A really fun game. A game where the Knicks led by as many as 17 points, and down the stretch was double digits with just a minute or so left in the game with about 50 seconds left. Knicks up by 9, but Indiana put on the pressure on the defensive end, knocking down shots. Aaron Naismith was incredible in the fourth quarter, making 6 3-pointers in that fourth quarter and leading the team with 20 of the team's 38 points. And then at the end of regulation, it was Tyrese Halliburton who had the big shot that for a second everyone thought won the game in regulation, but the foot on the line sends the game to overtime in OT. I thought a really fun back and forth game between the two teams, but it was the Indiana Pacers able to do enough to secure that win and take game one on the road in a hostile MSG. It'll set up for an incredible game two with the Knicks feeling like they've got to win game two at home. You don't want to go back to Indiana down 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. But I said it earlier, this series feels like one where no lead is safe. Both these teams have shown throughout the playoffs that they're very comfortable playing from behind. They're not going to get sped up. They're not going to lose their cool if they're behind. They're not going to give up. They're going to keep playing and try to find ways to win. We saw yesterday a rare time, it feels like, the Knicks up and in control of a game and fall apart at the end. Indiana takes it, and game one, we already got the choke sign from Tyrese Halliburton.
Almost
very
a little early.
Well, almost a little early, but he was able to get through.
On the college football playoff, I missed the big point. Heather Dinich, of course, she makes it, has a tweet. Notre Dame now can get a first-round bye if it's ranked in the top four, no longer exclusive to conference champions. So that is big.
So Notre Dame wins.
Yeah, and they usually do. And if they aren't, I don't think they should be out there at the bad table. My top story, big city, big stage, big colossal flop, fade, collapse, choke, whatever you want to call it, by the Knicks. How are you this close and you let off the gas? Their players quoted as saying, we may have let off the gas a little bit. Wonder if screaming Stephen A., who's contemplating running for president, will think it's as funny as when he picks at the Cowboys if people pick on his Knicks like that.
Yeah.
He laughs it up big when he's cracking on Jerry Wayne, isn't he?
Sure does.
May not be as funny after his Knicks had that collapse. And I wonder also, all the producers and the associate and assistants in the hallway at ESPN, if they will like to crack on the Knicks incessantly after that flop.
Probably not.
And that was a face plant.
Oh no, it was. It was really bad in MSG, but it made for a great game.
not top story of the day.
My not top story of the day, it is the changes to the college football playoffs. Brett McMurphy, the first I saw to report it, that the 2025 college football playoffs will change to straight seeding. Quote, top 4 seeds get first round byes regardless if it won a conference title. Sources said conference champs still get auto bids, but are seeded based on ranking. So that changes a lot. Like Brett mentioned from Heather Dinich, that Notre Dame is the big winner in this. That means that they will not be forced outside of the top 4 regardless of how they finish. If they are good enough to finish in the top 4, they will get a top 4 seed and get that first round bye. So huge news for them, but it definitely changes a lot. I do like this. I remember talking about it last year. It makes sense when you look at how it should be. If you win your conference title, get a spot in the playoffs, but you don't need to have a first round bye just because you won your conference, especially with we saw last year where a team like Boise State, great season, did not deserve a first round bye. Arizona State, great season, did not need a first round bye. So I think this helps everything out. Interesting to note though, if this had been in place last year, Tennessee would have been hosting a game at Neyland.
Against SMU.
That's right. So that would have been a ton of fun, and I think going to be a lot of fun doing straight seating. It's not perfect, but I think it makes a lot more sense than what we were doing last year.
Campus games last year would have been Notre Dame hosting Clemson, Ohio State hosting Arizona State, Indiana hosting Boise State, and Tennessee hosting SMU. Winner would have gotten Georgia. That'd been a Tennessee-Georgia rematch.
Oh, that would have been fun.
My not top story. The teams that remain at the SEC baseball tournament, give me a final on A&M. Who won?
A&M won.
Okay. Well, here are the seeds that remain then. What was A&M seed?
They were a 14 seed.
So we have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 7, a 8, a 12, and a 14. I don't think we need all the teams invited to Hoover.
No.
My point is basketball and baseball for almost all these conferences. You look at AAC baseball tournament going on right now.
Yeah.
UTSA can make some noise next weekend at the regional level.
Yeah.
They're not getting it at large.
Yeah.
All they can do is get scratched up.
That's right.
The AAC tournament should be about the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm sorry. Nobody's attending wherever it is, regardless of who's in it. So protect your seed.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, I'm with you.
SEC. All 16 don't need to be in Hoover.
Yeah. You mentioned UTSA. They got beat this afternoon. So
Well, they're
now double elimination, so they can still win the tournament.
So
but
it's still double.
Yeah, but now in the losers bracket, so now having to claw their way back.
They're 43 and
11.
So if they lose next time out 43-12, they don't get it at large.
No, they would not get it at large. So yeah, I mean it's interesting. And you look, if you had done last year's seeding, Texas A&M would not have made it to Hoover. They would have been right outside. So they are now making the most of their opportunity, getting a spot down at Hoover with another win earlier this morning. Well, that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we return, we're talking showboats with Steve Macy.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
It's time to make your yard the best on the block with Memorial Day savings at the Home Depot. Start by keeping the weeds at bay with Earth Grow Mulch. Now 4 for $10. Then keep your
Gossett Volkswagen's got it going on, so get over to Covington Pike, and you'll save big on 2025 Jetta S. We Gossett $299 a month. $299 a month for Jetta. How about 2025 ID4S Limited? $399 a month. $399 a month for ID4S Limited. And feel the vintage vibes in 2025 ID Buzz for less. Electric Bus, $599 a month. Plus, Gossett Volkswagen has lower cost of maintenance across 2024 and 2025 lineups compared to 2024 Toyota or Honda. So make the smart choice. Get to Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike. Online, GossettVWMemphis.com. Gossett is charging forward and charging less every day. If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Volkswagen.
66133, MSRP 24125, ID4 SCW 2503, MSRP 47261, Buzz SHO 13379, MSRP 61980, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 904-61101. That's 904-61101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses, any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone, call 904-61101. It's 904-61101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses, guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 904-61101. Bill and I buy houses.
This traffic brought to you by Raleigh Tire Auto Service, your local family-owned business for over 60 years.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's starting to build now on some of the major outbound routes. I-40 up by Chelsea. It's looking pretty decent right now. 40 west here at Danny Thomas as this traffic increases across the Hernando de Soto Bridge over on into West Memphis. South of Memphis, not bad, but it's building at times. 55 southbound passing State Line Road all the way down through DeSoto County. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry is your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season, which is just around the corner. Stop by and see David and his family at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time. Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Service. Here are your hosts, Brett Stansworth and
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. And we got to talk showboats. Steve Macy joins us now to talk boats. Steve, thanks so much for joining us. A win last Friday night for the showboats against San Antonio. And, I mean, showboats go out there. They score before you can even really turn the game on. A pick six on the first defensive possession for the showboats. And, you know, you look at how this defense has played all season. They've played well, but it's been the lack of takeaways. And in that game on Friday, defense getting after it with several takeaways.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, it's always good to get a win on the road. It's always good to get a win, period. And I think the way they did it was showing that the team's coming together. I think it was good, really good on the defensive side. And I think they've been playing real well, really all season. You're right. They have not had the takeaways that you would expect as well as they've played. And there's been a lot of opportunities. I mean, there's just been some drops on clear interceptions where guys got themselves in positions. And it's been little things like that. But I think as we watched that game last Friday, some of those little things went well, and the boats came away with the W.
Steve, you could turn around a couple of plays and the record would look a lot different, but it doesn't. We know that's how it works. You want to close strong in these last two games, these last two home games, and get ready for year 4.
Yeah, it's obviously as you're looking at having 2 home games to end the season, it gives you a chance to get a little home cook and have some fun, let the home crowd see the team win at home and have a little bit of a momentum going into season 4 for the showboats, and that's what we're hoping to do with the game Saturday and then next Sunday at 2:00.
Yeah, and you mentioned the game this weekend, kind of a long weekend for a lot of people. Memorial Day, we've talked about it a lot, but the $2 beer, $2 hot dog, kids 12 and under get in free. I mean, another great opportunity for fans to get out and catch some showboat football. What are y'all going to be doing this week? Anything special for the game on Saturday?
Yeah, this is our Hats Off to Heroes game, so we're going to be honoring military, first responders, and teachers, and just kind of really taking, like we say, the name of it says a lot. It's a hats off. We're tipping our hat to those that serve our country and our community. and that's going to be a big part of the theme of the day and recognizing those folks. And like you said, we're going to continue to try and show that this is a family-friendly atmosphere with inexpensive concessions, kids 12 and under being free. And we got a great compliment after the last home game. One of the league members was in town that had not been to a Memphis game yet in the third year here, and he came away at a league meeting on a Zoom and just said, "Hey, I don't know what they're doing in Memphis, but that's as good an environment as we have anywhere except for St. Louis. That they're louder than every other crowd. It was small but mighty, and obviously Steve's working on getting a lot more folks there, but the people that are there are having a blast and making a big difference in the game." So that was, you love to hear good things about the 901, and especially from the league level, unsolicited, just really bragging on the showboats and our fans.
Steve, just for you personally, if you can speak candidly, did you like how the schedule played out this week, the time frame, not necessarily the starting times, but just when it started and now when it's going to end around June 1, regular season, then a week of playoffs, and then the championship game? Would you want to start a little earlier, a little later? You think they have it about right?
I think it's hard. I mean, you've got Easter, you have Mother's Day, you have Memorial Day, and Father's Day. All are falling on games in our schedule this year, with the championship game being on Father's Day weekend. So I think, if you start early, you miss a couple of those. I think you'd like to, but if you start early, you also start running into more of the NCAA tournament than we did this year. So I think there's some qualifications or some qualities of starting early or starting later that have an impact. Ultimately, we've got to put on a great show and continue to show that spring football is here to stay. And look, if I had my druthers, I don't care when we start. I'd like to have games at 6 o'clock on Saturday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That would be, of all the things, I don't care what the dates are. I know that from my time in this market that is the sweet spot for starting a game, and I'd like to have a few of those going forward, and not really concerned if we start in February, March, or April. For me, it's more about the day of the week and the time of the day. And
you know him well, and we all like and really regard Bob Wynn a lot. Years ago, he was the one that kind of said, this is when the Tigers need to play home games, except for those occasional 1 o'clock games. We need to play at 6 o'clock. You get all the live shots from the local TV people out there pregame, hey, coming up at the top of the hour, at 5:20 or so. And then they all have their packages and highlights ready to roll after that game for either 9:20, 9:40 for Fox 13, or for the rest of them for their 10 o'clock news package. 6 o'clock makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. And for the fans, they most like that.
Yeah, I think that gives you the opportunity to tailgate. If you've got kids events, whether it's baseball in the spring or soccer or whatever you might be playing, those are typically happening during the day, and you're typically out of those events by the evening time. So it does give you a chance for more fans, more families to make it. But it is what it is, right? We still are looking at this as a league that's getting started and gaining its momentum, and TV's been a big part of that. And the TV ratings continue to outperform more established leagues in the springtime, and I think that's a testament that people want spring football. And right now, those TV windows are what they are, and we're going to have to find creative ways and continue to try to find creative ways to entice people. Going to the Showboats game is the thing to do. Let's try to get as many things out of the way from our personal lives so we can attend those games, and that's on us to continue to give people reasons to say yes.
But this Saturday, quite different. Go to the Showboats first, and then to the lake or the golf course second and third.
That's right. That's right. I mean, you can get with an 11 a.m. kick, you can get some of the other things later in the day. Obviously, it's not my favorite time to start a game, but I think it does give us a chance with folks that might be going somewhere for the weekend to say, let's stick around. Let's go ahead and do the Showboats game. We can. You can put a clock to our games. They last 3 hours, and then we can get on the road around 2:30 and head to wherever we're going. We'd love to see the community take advantage of the kids' specials and the concession specials and have some fun with us. The games are a blast.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think another reason why, if anything, they would start the season maybe a week or two earlier. I don't think later, because y'all do want to accommodate the players that are trying to get to a camp, aren't you?
Yeah, I think later is definitely out of
Yeah.
the question. I mean, those guys need a little bit of time after it's grueling. 10 straight weeks without a break playing professional football. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And so those guys do need time to recover. Those that have gotten the attention of an NFL squad that want to get invited to a camp do need to, heal up the bumps and bruises. They can go into training camp fully healthy. And I think that, thinking about starting later is probably a non-starter at this point.
Last week we talked about the quarterbacks kind of starting to rotate with these final couple of weeks. You saw Troy Williams get the start over the weekend, and really the offense, they did a lot of the run game, 152 yards, 1 touchdown. They let Troy Williams use his legs a little bit more. Do you expect that to continue this week with that rotating of quarterbacks and seeing a new guy at the quarterback position on Saturday?
I'm not sure what coach has got planned at the quarterback side, but I do know that he likes all three guys. And he feels that each of these guys needs an opportunity to show what they can do, and he's trying to do that as best he can, and serve them and serve the team at the same time. And I think what you saw to Troy Williams is one tough dude. I mean, he was breaking tackles, fighting for every half yard. When he saw the first down 6, he was not to be denied. He showed an incredible amount of leadership, and post game, I think it was the proper thing. He got the game ball. He didn't throw for a lot of yards in the game, under 50, but then in overtime, he threw 2 passes that
electric.
ended up being the difference maker. When they needed him, he made passes.
Yeah, he did. Those were 2 great balls he threw in overtime. I love the UFL overtime, just the alternating, almost shootout format.
It's phenomenal.
Really fun.
It's the best one.
Yeah.
This is of all the things, of all the differences rules-wise, this is the one that I absolutely love. It is a lot of fun, tons of pressure. It's not going to last all day. It's just, hey, here's one play. It's a cool overtime.
Steve, in college football and in the NFL, I don't think we have it right in overtime. Do you think we see the day that college and or the NFL adopt the UFL overtime?
I would love to. I mean, I think this thing where you have a shootout and it's best out of 3 for getting the 2-point conversion from the 5-yard line, it's really fun. I mean, they even put up the little check mark or the X in the 3 circles as they come out, like you got a ball and strike count on the TV screen. I think it's a phenomenal thing to see how well it plays out. And I would love for the college game to try it next. I think some of the college game was getting it to 25 and going over and over and over. And, now I think they have corrected a couple things. We have to go for 2 on the second or third overtime. I think that's helped. But I think after a long game, let's go ahead and get after it, and let's have these little 2-point conversions and be done with it. And I think the NFL, as many times as they've tried to fix that overtime, it's still blatantly unfair. And it's just a weird overtime that I think is overblown, especially for a regular season game. Playoffs are different. Play the full game. Kind of like baseball has figured out a way not to have 19 and 20 inning games that wipe out a pitching staff for weeks on end. They found a way to shorten the games that, hey, we've already played to a tie. After 9 innings, let's go ahead and get the game over with. Let's find a fun, exciting way where there's, in baseball, you start with the guy on second, you start with the guy on third, just to make sure that some runs can be scored. And that's what I love about our overtime, and I hope that it gets adopted. I'd love to see any level of football adopt this, because the 2 times we've been involved in it, obviously we won both of them, so that made it more fun, but it was edge of your seat for a good 5 minutes. It was a blast.
And college, the old to the 25, I thought what it did, especially after kind of both teams had it once, you were turning your big players into zombies.
I think you're right. I think it's a lot, right? You're continuing to go back to the 25, and the college game is already a 4.5-hour game that people have been outside. That adding that layer, and then they go to TV timeouts during the overtime. I mean, it is a lot, and I agree. It is a lot on the college game to have such a a long overtime setup for sure.
Yeah, no. Before we let you go, Steve, remind people where they can get tickets and what y'all have got going on for Saturday's game.
Yeah, thanks. So it's 11 a.m. on Saturday, Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. Tickets are available at uflshowboats.com, uflshowboats.com. Kids 12 and under are free, and we've got $2 hot dogs, $2 beers, and we'll be honoring our military, first responders, and teacher heroes in the community.
Great work, Steve Macy. Great work.
Gonna be a lot of fun.
Hey, miss you guys. Hope to see you at the game on Saturday.
You got it.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Steve Macy joining us to talk showboats with the game Saturday morning against the Renegades. Do we want to go ahead, just since we're on the topic, and just go ahead and knock out Showboat Bankroll?
We will for Saturday's game. Arlington, a 4.5-point favorite last week. Group lock. We all had the boats.
Let's go.
That makes me 4-4 on the year. Y'all are both 3-5. Bryant had to win.
Yeah.
That took him up to 450. Landon's at 550. I'm at 1050. I'm only one in real profit. So who wants to go first?
Money man.
Yeah, I'll let
Make
you go
Money
first.
Man go first.
I'm gonna take the boats. I think they've got something figured out. Give me showboats for 25.
All right, Landon. It sounds like you want to go next.
Sure. I want to go next.
I didn't really get that feeling. I think Brian.
I didn't get
it
at
about
all.
me, and I didn't get it about you.
No, he spoke for me. But hey, we're already here. We might
Okay.
as well go. So it's a 4.5-point line.
That's it.
You know what? I've been going with the showboats all year. I want to go with them again. Give me a showboats for 100.
All right. I've got to start making up ground some way.
Here we go, down to the end.
I'm going to go with Arlington, and I'm going to go with $200
There you
on
go.
Arlington. I don't want them. I'm not hoping they win, but I got to make a comeback, so I just got to start going against you guys.
I haven't got
They
it
gotta cover.
I haven't got it secured yet. Y'all can still come back.
Yeah, we'll see.
Emptying out next week.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh
next
yeah, all
week
in.
is,
I'm already all in.
and that's the joy. That's
Yeah.
the thing we didn't have with Tiger Bankroll is you never knew when the end was coming, so you couldn't really unload that.
We know this is the end.
We know.
And we know these playoffs.
Yeah.
And one playoff game will be in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
It hadn't drawn like they normally do, but I think they will for that. And in St. Louis, and it has.
Yeah,
It has drawn really well.
And some controversy about them playing in St. Louis for that conference championship.
And the
game.
controversy is?
It's supposed to be in Washington, but they can't use, for whatever reason, they cannot use their stadium in Washington. so
Oh,
they're
it's just
playing-
conveniently the place that really draws.
That's right, and so they are playing in St. Louis. So the defenders are not very happy about that move. But no, these games have been fun to watch over the weekend, and hopefully with the long weekend, a lot of people make it out Saturday morning to see the showboats. Only 2 more opportunities to see the boats this year, and it starts here in a couple days on Saturday at 11 a.m. Well, let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about the NBA playoffs. That's next on Sportstime.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Wally Hatchet serves breakfast all day and Southern comfort food for lunch. Hatchet fans love our huge omelet, breakfast Sammys, scrambles, and chicken and waffles. For lunch, check out the Mississippi pot roast, chicken fried steak, grilled meatloaf are one of our best-selling burgers, lipstick on a cow. Pickup, delivery, and catering are also available. Visit WallyHatchets.com to order online. Wally Hatchets is located at 6439 Summer Avenue and open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Wally Hatchets. Count your blessings, not your calories.
Now is the perfect time to start your next success. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. No application fee if you apply by the 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia Licensure.
Extraordinary events come once in a blue moon, and right now, even the most extravagant luxuries are well within reach. The one and only May sale is back at Sissy's Log Cabin, and you can save up to 50% on nearly everything in the store. This is your chance to get the service, selection, and experience that makes you feel like family. But hurry, the best pricing of the year ends May 31st. Don't miss the one and only May sale at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Well, last night was a lot of fun in New York City. The Pacers coming back from double-digit deficit to win that game, steal game one on the road, and now we turn very quickly back to the Western Conference and see what OKC can do in game two, if they can extend this lead or if Minnesota can steal one.
Minnesota's got to be a lot better with their bigs, particularly Rudy Gobert. Grand total of 2 points in the first game. 2 last night. Only 7 turnovers for the Pacers. Really pathetic defense for the Knicks. At some point, don't you have to hard foul those guys out there just shooting pregame practice shots?
Yeah, and that's something we talked about in the Boston series. A Boston team that takes a ton of threes, and in some of those later games, especially that game 5 that they won at home. It was wide open looks for Boston. So, yeah, that's definitely a concern. But you're right. You need more out of your bigs tonight. We know how good OKC is in the front court with their bigs. And so you got to have more out of Rudy Gobert. And
all they want is a split.
Oh, yeah. If they can get a split tonight, that's huge. I wonder, we saw them come out hot in the first half. In game 1, how does OKC look now in game 2? Can they come out to a hot start? And if they do, how does Minnesota respond? Because, if we're being honest, they made it look pretty easy round 1, round 2. There weren't many times that they were trailing in those games. So curious to see, if they face early adversity, are they able to bounce back? Because we saw when they faced that adversity in the second half in game 1, they fell completely flat and OKC ran away with it.
I really feel like there's growing discontent with SGA over all the trips to the free throw line.
Yeah, there definitely is, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday. I don't like the narrative necessarily. There are definitely...
It stuck to Harden once upon a time.
It absolutely did. But, I think when you look at him and Brunson, I think it's a little more with Brunson than it is with SGA. And I just hate that he's being kind of labeled what he is, because I think it's taken away from how great of a player he is. I'm already seeing he wins MVP yesterday, and everyone's going, well, of course he wins MVP when he gets that many trips to the free throw line. And I think it just takes away from really the type of player he is.
Once upon a time, John Harden, he's producing our show. And and the producer would do a quick 1.5-minute, 2-minute top of the hour sports update.
Sure.
And he had been here a month or so, and just like he is now, fun-loving guy. You fall in love with him, you can't help but like him. And he's doing his update. It might have been around when James Harden got traded, but without missing a beat. My cousin, James Harden, traded today from Oklahoma City. He didn't miss a beat, serious as he could be. I fall out howling, laughing over here. He can tell it. He's never off stride doing it. And that's when I said, I really like this guy.
And it's stuck ever since. Every time
same
he brings
guy.
up James Harden.
His cousin, James Harden.
That is hilarious.
Don't even spell it the same.
No, but it sounds the same, so they're cousins. But no, I think tonight's going to be fun. I'm sure you saw SGA gift all of his teammates Rolexes for winning MVP.
Very nice.
Very nice. You love.
See, that's what we need here, and the player go to Sissies and get them all.
That's right, exactly.
At that Rolex department.
That's.
We got to have the MVP here.
You're right.
And,
it's really
Jaren
easy.
Rewarded today, honored today.
Second team, all defense,
and getting ready to be rewarded.
It sounds like it. It feels like it.
He's earned it. Whether you think he should or shouldn't, it goes with it. That's part of it.
Sure.
And they have to decide if they can afford it.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big decision. Obviously, the All-NBA team is the one that everyone's going to be watching. Obviously, if he's named to that payday, then it would be. And, if he is named to that, then, the Grizzlies have a real decision to make.
But the whole deserving, wrong word. It's baked in the cake.
Sure. Yeah, no,
he accomplished it. He's at that plateau.
Definitely.
He gets the cash.
Definitely. And so whether it's here or somewhere else, that's the decision the front office has to make.
And whether he's that good or not, I don't know if that matters that much. They thought he was.
Sure. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why those structures are there. That's why if you are named to an All-NBA team, you are able to get this much money, so that conversation isn't had, because there are owners out there that are saying, you're not as good as they say you are. We're not going to pay you that money. So
I would like a lot more rebounding.
Oh, yeah.
I would like a lot more low post presence from him.
Sure.
But you just look at those numbers. Where are you getting that from in a deal?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That's That'd be the question for the front office, because that would be their job to go and find
But
that type of guy.
it's going to be one of the big things next year with the Grizzlies, because how this year ended and some of those combinations toward the end of the year, familiarity has bred contempt.
Yeah, no, it absolutely has. And so
the core three is nowhere near as beloved as the core four.
No, I mean, I think that's a great point, because I think you can go.
They didn't want anything.
No, and I think you can go anywhere and ask anybody, and you'll get 3 different answers, I'm sure. 2 more than the third, but you would probably get 3 answers of everybody saying, well, one of those guys has to go. I don't think there's many people out there that are saying, well, bring that core back together and fix some things around them and see what happens. It feels like most people are saying, you got to deal one of those guys.
And I think Jaren is the most responsive and owning, I got to be a lot better.
Sure, yeah, and that is one of the great things about Jaren is, you saw it with his end of season presser where he comes in and he's saying, look, I got to be better. I there are things I'm going to work. The question was more about how either last year or the year before the front office gave him a list of things of, we need you to improve on these things, and he kind of talked about how he really focused on those things, got better, and so it was asked, did they give you a list? What is it? He goes, no, I have my own list. They didn't give me one. If they want to give me one, they can. But I have my own list of things I got to go and work on. And so, hearing that from one of your, star players, I think is good to hear. And that because you've seen that he's put in that work in the offseason. He's going to put in that offseason work again this year. But definitely decisions coming down for the Grizzlies, and we'll see what ultimately happens over the offseason. But we need to wrap up this hour and get to another break. When we come back, we're talking more NBA. Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. He joins us next.
Pools, and more pools. Yes, it is pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure is already booking pool installs, so you need to buy now and get on that list. 24-foot pools start at $19.99 install. Liners are starting at $2.99. You're going to need some pool accessories, so they're all up to 20% off. Not quite ready for a pool? That's fine. Get a 5 or 6 person hot tub starting at under $7,000. You can also go for a swim spa or perhaps a cold plunge tub. Those are now $2,000 off. Get patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets. Buy your pool now. Get on that install list. Mention this commercial, and your install is free. It's underlined in the in bold print, so you know it's big. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together. June is always a month of celebration. People are getting married. People are graduating. And those people need somewhere to do their celebrating. And we offer up Bell Tavern. Now, this is perfect downtown bar. You could take your group to a chain restaurant or bar, but those places don't have a tenth of the charm of Bell Tavern. Chains are sterile and impersonal. Bell Tavern is a cool oasis for most places. Signature cocktails, ice-cold beer, and the friendliest staff in town. This is a chance for you to show off your knowledge of Memphis, to impress out-of-towners by taking them to the coolest bar they've been to in a long time. Unless, of course, they put it on tap.
Former CIA officer Jason Hansen here. As someone who's dedicated my life to protecting people, I know the importance of guarding what matters most. Right now, with global instability and the knowledge to client value, that means securing your financial assets with gold. For me, I trust Advantage Gold with my own investments. Give them a call at 800-900-8000 for 100% free gold guide. Again, call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 today.
Extraordinary events from once in a blue moon, and right now, even the most extravagant luxuries are well within reach. The one and only May sale is back at Sissy's Log Cabin, and you can save up to 50% on nearly everything in the store. This is your chance to get the service, selection, and experience that makes you feel like family, at the best prices of the year, guaranteed. Don't miss the one and only May sale at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A couple of EMS calls in the last few minutes, trying its best to build certain sections of Midtown. Over here, I-40 up by Chelsea, coming south on 240 right now, all the way down to Norris. We've watched that increase even more in the last few minutes. Now, there's been no shortage of radar already out here on I-40 in Fayette County, especially to the west of Memphis on I-40 as you head out towards Forest City through that section of Arkansas. Lots of radar, and you're going to see more and more of that the next few days. Weimer's Jewelry is your diamond engagement ring headquarters. Go by and see David at Weimer's Jewelry out there on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1. Time to talk NBA with Keith Smith from Spot Rack and the Front Office Show. And on Twitter X at Keith Smith NBA. Here's Keith Smith talking basketball with Bryant and Brett.
Keith Smith joins us now from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. He joins us every week to talk the NBA. Keith, let's just start with last night, the comeback for the Indiana Pacers, the collapse by the Knicks. Brett and I were talking about it earlier. This feels like a series where no lead is safe because we've seen both of these teams multiple times throughout this playoffs be able to come back from double-digit deficits. What did you make of that showing last night by the Pacers and what happened to the Knicks down the stretch?
Yeah, I'll try to keep my language cleaner for you here on the air than it was in my house last night watching, because that was bonkers. Like an absolutely crazy finish to a game. The Knicks were up 14+ with just under 3 minutes to go, and Aaron Nesmith's making every shot he takes and just, letting it fly. And then you had the Tyrese Halliburton play at the end. That ball, when it hit the back iron, I swear it was in the air for, a minute. And I've never heard an arena go completely silent like that as it then dropped through the basket. And then you had the whole celebration, and it wasn't actually a 3 to win it. It was only a 2, and the Pacers, showed great poise to then recollect themselves in overtime after falling behind, after the big celebration, and to get the win. And I think you're absolutely right. These two teams, you can't count them out. I don't know how big the lead needs to be without much time left before you can feel confident shutting it off, but it's going to be really big with not a lot of time left.
The Knicks cannot fall down 0-2, can they?
No, I mean, you really, it's the death sentence if you do that. You're going to struggle big time if you fall behind 0-2 to a team that's as good as Indiana is. So I expect the Knicks to come back and really be fully ready to go. You'll probably best, effort you'll get out of them. I imagine the home crowd will do what they can to lift them and really get them going. So, yeah, I think this is still going to be a good long series.
I know we have to live with these results when it plays out. Is it some of the Celtic fans wishing, okay, take two, let's try this again? Any thought of, the Celtics are still better than the Knicks?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people are probably like, hey, if we hadn't blown one of those two games, or they're in there, and if Jason Tatum doesn't get hurt, they're probably right there. So I think that's where a lot of fans are probably going to be. But the reality is the Knicks earned it. The Knicks took the series, and I think you have to look at it as, all right, you can't live in a fantasy land, right? We live in the real world, and the Knicks won, and it kind of is what it is.
It is. With this year going to have the 7th different champion over the last 7 years. Good or bad for the league, the whole parity, the whole dynasty. I like a little of both, but for us being Smallville, I like it being passed around. I just want our taste of it in Memphis.
Sure. No, I hear you, yeah, and I think the NBA more than a lot of other sports, probably the NBA and the NFL, you don't have to be in one of the glamour markets to win. It just goes to show if you do things the right way, you can win. You can put together a championship-level team. I mean, 3 of the 4 teams that are still left playing, I would say are not in those major supermarkets, that are out there, especially Oklahoma City and Indiana. So, that just, again, goes to show this is what you can do if you kind of do it the right way. As far as the parity goes, yeah, I think it's generally good for the sport. Dynasties are good because the Warriors are the best example in recent years where everybody loved the Warriors, right? As they were coming up, they were kind of everybody's second favorite team. And then by the time they had been around for about 3-4 years, everybody was like, oh, man, I'm tired of these guys. I don't like that Steph Curry guy doing all the shimmying. And Draymond Green's, the biggest villain on the planet. Everybody wanted him to lose. So you either root for him or you root against him. So I think the NBA is happy to take it either way. But right now, in the world of parity, I think it's been pretty good stuff.
Golden State, it was really that team of when they first popped on the scene, Riley Curry was the adorable little baby sitting with her parents and her grandparents. Draymond Green, the ultimate lunch pail guy, the guy everybody would love to have on their team. Here in Memphis, the legendary workout he had. Why didn't the Grizzlies take him? And then they became the Red Sox evil empire.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what everybody says with the with these guys is. What's that saying? You start out the hero and then you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, right? And that's really what happened, with the Warriors. I think they've turned that way. I think we've seen that in other sports. I go back, you guys know I'm a Patriots fan. That first Super Bowl when they beat the Rams, everybody thought it was great. The coming underdog and everything. By the time they had won the third Super Bowl in 4 years, everybody's like, I'm tired of this Tom Brady guy. Get him off my TV. Would somebody beat this guy? And that's where we're at. But yeah, parity is good. I think the bigger lesson for the NBA is if you do things the right way, you build the right way, everybody has a chance at winning a title in this league.
And that Rams team that the Patriots defeated in the New Orleans Super Bowl after 9/11, late January of 2002, the Vinatieri kick, the Rams had become, under Martz and before that Vermeil and the greatest show on turf, they had become the evil empire. Everybody was for the darling upset that day. Now, it's weird, though, Keith, in golf, when Jack Nicklaus came along and knocked off Palmer, I won't say hated, but Palmer was beloved, and they didn't like the young whippersnapper, and back then it was Fat Jack, and then he turned into a legend. Team sports doesn't work like that.
No, not usually. Yeah, I mean, we all love an underdog story, right? It's I think it's ingrained in us in a major way. As the country was founded as a bunch of scrappy underdogs. Beat the world's empire. And that's I think it's just bled in everything we believe as Americans and sports fans is, hey, it's about the little guy. If the little guy can pull it off, we're all there. And that's why I think, we've got a lot of people rooting for the Pacers in this series because it's, hey, take down the Knicks, take down New York, even though, neither one of them's won anything. And, the Pacers never have in the NBA, and the Knicks haven't won anything since the 70s. It's been a very long time, since any of these four teams have seen any measure of NBA success.
Mm-hmm. Over in the Western Conference, Game 2 tonight, OKC and Minnesota. In the first game, OKC came out a little flat, but in the second half really turned things around and dominated the rest of that game. What do you make of this series so far, and what do you expect to see tonight?
Yeah, I think, it's what's become disappointing to me with the NBA and the discourse around the league is apparently there are no actually good teams. Teams only win because the officials love them, right? Or the league wants to rig it for them, or the other team had injuries and these things. And sometimes you just get beat by a better team. I did not enjoy the early part of Game 1 of Thunder Timberwolves because there were just too many whistles. I'd rather see them let them play a little bit. And I think there were 12 foul calls in the first quarter. The first quarter took over a half hour to play. It was just too much. And I was really at the point where by the end where it's like, all right, finally we're moving here. So I think, we're in a spot where it's tough, right? And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I say he's slithery, right? That's the term I used to describe him. And because he's so good at contorting himself, he draws those fouls and he gets, some calls. But when you're that good, you're going to get calls. And when you get some legit calls, you're going to get some that aren't so legit too. And that's just kind of how it goes. But I think with him, what people have to focus on is focus less on, oh man, look, there's a bad call he got. And look at it, like the guy's good. Like he's really, really good. That said, the Timberwolves missed a million shots. If they make, a few more jumpers, they probably win that game. Anthony Edwards, I thought, had the best comments right after the game when he's like, look, I only took 13 shots. I wasn't aggressive enough. I didn't play my game. And I think if he can play his game and get downhill and do the things that he's really good at, they're going to be in this thing. I think, again, we might have a good long series there between those teams because I think Minnesota's got a lot of room to play better, and I think Oklahoma City played about as good as they probably can.
What took Rudy Gobert out of his game?
Yeah, it's just not a great matchup for him. I think they were doing a real good job getting him switched out into weird positions on the floor. I think Minnesota had a little bit of trouble defending in space, and that got him in awkward spots. And then I think the fact that when they play the two bigs, they play Hardenstein and they play Holmgren, Rudy Gobert, when he's getting those catches in the paint, he's used to, all right, the one big's out there now because they switched, and he's out of the play, but then the other guy's coming flying in, and I think that impacted him at the rim a lot more than what he maybe would have wanted to see. So I think that part's a little bit, got him out of his game. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love what you said about SGA because it feels like really this entire series, well, it just started, but around game one, even a little bit in the last series, and now since winning MVP, all the talk has been the foul merchant, and now all he does is get to the free throw line, and most boring superstar in the league because of how much he gets to the line. And I was talking about it earlier with Brett. I just think that type of discourse takes so much away from how great of a player SGA actually is.
Yeah, it's a lot like James Harden from a few years ago where it was, oh my gosh, this guy's ruining basketball. All he does is take three-pointers or get fouled. And it's, and I think, yes, the Rockets never broke through and got to the finals, but they were unlucky to play against the Dynasty Warriors. That same time when Harden was doing his thing, the Warriors were on top of the world. So I think it's just a matter of, all right, that's just, timing being what it was. But I do think that, really tough with those guys because I think, we often get too much of, all right, we focus on the things we don't like, and then that takes away from everything else that they do really well. SGA is a wonderful defensive player. He's a good playmaker, not a great one, but he's a terrific scorer in all these ways. And what I find is funny is we went through an entire season of, Boston and all these teams shooting so many threes and ruining the game, and this is awful. Then you get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's the most skilled mid-range scoring guard we have in the league, and it's like everybody's like, yeah, I don't care. Like, well, make up your mind. I think a lot of it comes down to just a lot of people who want to complain. I think they're, as the old song goes, they're only happy when it rains.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Keith Smith
got in a garbage reference.
Yeah.
Way to go, Keith.
We're locked in.
That's one of my favorites. I go to that one probably more than I probably should.
I think that I have that on iTunes. Very good.
Yeah, you have to find it. Keith Smith joins us every week to talk the NBA. The big news out of the NBA today, the Nuggets have made David Adelman their permanent head coach after being the interim throughout the playoffs the last couple games of the season. What do you make of this move, a move that we've seen pretty much every team in the NBA make this offseason of just sticking with the interim?
Yeah, I think, David Adelman did a really good job in a tough spot with that Nuggets team taking over with so little time left in the regular season. And then I thought, he did a nice job getting them settled. As Nikola Jokic said, he didn't have a lot of time to fix a whole lot, and he got them to a Game 7 in the second round against the team that now everybody's kind of favoring to win the championship. So I think that's a good move. Stick with him, build some continuity. At least that way you're probably – we'll see. Maybe it sounds like they might be leaning towards hiring Ben Tenzer as the permanent head coach or a permanent GM, rather, who's the interim GM right now. And if they do that, a little more continuity for a team that's probably going to see some roster changes. I don't think Jokic, Murray, or Gordon are going anywhere, but we might see Michael Porter Jr. get moved. We might see a handful of other guys get moved on from. And I think it's important, when you can build in that continuity for good teams, that you do so. So I like that move by Denver.
Does that front office bring in Nikola Jokic for consultation or transparency or nothing?
What's interesting is I don't think he wants it. I think he's always kind of been the guy who's like, nah, I'm good. The season's over. I'm headed to Serbia and I'm going to do my horse racing. Like, that's it, right? I'm not doing any of this stuff, hanging around here, doing all this. And he mentioned, there's Eurobasket this summer over in Europe, so he's, very likely to play in that because those guys, don't often miss that competition. So I think, he's probably, keep me informed on what's going on, but I don't think he's the superstar who's demanding, I need final approval on this stuff, because I think Nikola Jokic kind of takes the approach of show up at the start of training camp. Who do we got this year? All right, let's go.
With Denver settled, that leaves just Phoenix with an opening?
That sounds right. Off the top of my head, that does sound right. And they've been slow playing it, and they've been very clear that, outside of a couple guys who've been around, David Fizdale, who you all are very familiar with, and James Borrego, they're looking at first-time guys who've not been head coaches before. I think there were 8 or 9 names that were on a list of advancing to their second round, and they sound like they were going to whittle that down to a few names to go into a final round interview. So they're taking their time with that, and I think that's important because, again, that's a team that's in the midst of some really rough stuff with the shape their rosters in their payroll and the taxes and all that. And they're going to have to sort through and figure that out. Now, I think that's the right move. Make sure you really land the right coach.
When do we get the first trade? Do we get it before the NBA Finals end, or will it be in that brief period after the Finals before draft?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And so just so everybody knows what the rules are is when your season is over, you can make trades. So 26 teams right now, not the Thunder, Wolves, Knicks, or Pacers, but the other 26 that are done, they can all make trades right now if they want to. They're in a position where they can do that. Now, the tricky part is you're still using this year's salaries, this year's luxury tax standings, this year's apron restrictions, all that stuff. That makes it a little bit harder. But about every few years, we see a trade made. Al Horford was shipped back to Boston in the middle of June. A couple years back, in a trade where Kemba Walker went over to the Thunder, in a swap of salaries there. And that, was one that, again, I think that was June 18th that was made. So we may get one, but I think it's more likely probably draft week. That's when everything picks back up. The week of the draft is when kind of everybody gets moving on towards the offseason.
I was about to ask you about the Giannis Antetokounmpo and Milwaukee Bucks meeting. I'm seeing some tweets on Twitter saying that they have met and that Giannis did not ask for a trade because it feels like everyone's kind of waiting to see what happens there, and then maybe we see some movement in terms of teams making trades.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. I think, Giannis's situation, and I have not seen those tweets yet, but I'm going to take your word on that. Those people are coming up with the right information there. If he's saying he doesn't want to trade, well, now you can move on to Kevin Durant or whoever it is next for the teams, because that's, you're talking $50 million players. To some extent, that's big, right? But if Giannis says he wants a trade, that's going to hold up everything, right? Because everybody's going to at least, all right, what's our best offer? We don't want to get caught here without having made an offer. But I think we're in a spot where Giannis, a couple others, they could hold up things this offseason until something moves with them. But, yeah, if he says he doesn't want traded, then that, changes things majorly, because now if you're the Bucks, you're going the other way. It's all right, how do we reset around Giannis? Because they're certainly going to take a year off while Damian Lillard recovers. It's going to be, all right, let's try to get back at this thing as quickly as we can.
When you look at the East next year, let's just say that Giannis does not get traded from the Bucks. We know Dame's going to be out next year. We know Jason Tatum is going to be out next year. What does that Eastern Conference look like in terms of the kind of power teams? Is it the Knicks and the Pacers and Cleveland? You assume that they'll be back. Detroit could make a jump. It feels like things could be a little different in the Eastern Conference because of those major injuries.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Cleveland, because this is why everybody, whenever a team falls, especially if they're upset in the playoffs, everybody rushes to, all right, we got to make changes. We got to blow it up and start over and trade this guy and trade that guy. How are we going to do this? And I think the Cavs are probably a little bit looking and say, man, we've missed opportunity for sure. We're not feeling great about the way the season ended, but I think they're looking and saying, hey, if we're a little healthier, we could have beat the Pacers. We can beat the Knicks. The Celtics are probably out of the mix for at least a year, as they kind of reset without Jason Tatum for most, if not all, of next season. So I think you're in a spot, if you're the Cavs, you kind of hold pat. If you're Indiana and New York, you're feeling, all right, we're pretty good. Tweaks around the edges for those three teams for sure. Then if you're Milwaukee, if you can find a way to reset, if Giannis stays in the fold, you think, hey, we got one of the best players in the league, arguably the best player in the Eastern Conference. Why can't we be, right back in the mix? And then, Detroit, Orlando, some of those other teams got to be looking at and saying, hey, why not us? Miami, they've done pretty well with flipping things fairly quickly in the past. So I think you've got, and East all of a sudden feels a lot more open. Not that Boston was sitting there as the dominant power and everybody felt like, man, we can't possibly beat these guys. We're all playing for a second. But there was a little bit of that. We need to get a little lucky to beat the Celtics. And I think now, that they're going to be out of the mix a little bit, I think we're in a spot where, these teams may go, into the summer with a little bit of a different direction.
Now, Mark Cuban made deals once upon a time, but he always resisted the blow-up around Dirk. And if he hadn't, he wouldn't have gotten his one title, because there were plenty of people after some of those playoff early exits were calling for Dallas to blow it up then. And he made adjustments, got Jason Kidd, helped a lot, but he rejected that and got his championship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the tricky part. Now, I will say, then he turned right around and kind of broke down a title team, which Mavericks fans have never forgotten and didn't really love. But, yeah, you got to be really careful. The hardest thing for, I'll say, a team's leadership, because sometimes that's more ownership-driven, sometimes that's front office, sometimes the coach has a little more power. But when you're in the leadership position with a team, the hardest thing you have to do is getting the timing right. Do we go for it right now? Do we wait? What does it look like? Because one of two things can happen. Either you wait so long and you never really get there, and the next thing you know, all right, the window's already gone by. The other thing is, if you go too early, we went too early and our guys weren't ready, and now we're kind of stuck. We never quite got there. And that's the challenge of, trying to find, the right time when it is, all right, we got to go and make this happen. And I think that's a really difficult needle to thread.
Where are the Grizzlies with that paradigm?
Yeah, I think we're getting real close to the window might close here before we ever fully got there. And that's why I've been saying for a couple of seasons now, last year was not the season that just ended, but the one before that obviously went completely off the rails. Yeah. But I said with the Grizzlies, I hate how precious they were. We drafted this guy. We developed this guy for so long. If it's great if they're, a rotation player and help you be a good team. But if you're going to be a title team, I think they missed some opportunities to cash in on some draft picks. And it's a little, sometimes teams can get a little high on their own supply with, we're so good at drafting and developing that we can never actually trade anybody because we want to, stick and keep everybody we have and all that stuff. And then you don't really get there. Not everybody's going to have, and hit the way Boston did or hit the way the Thunder did and turn guys, those picks into superstar players. Sometimes you got to go out and get them other ways. And I think Memphis might have missed on a chance. Let's see what they do this summer. And we're not closing the door yet because I think they have opportunities to go make it happen. But we're getting real close to this kind of core reaching their expiration date.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It feels like a big offseason here in Memphis, but still focused on the playoffs. Should be a lot of fun tonight in OKC. Hopefully tomorrow night is just as good as Game 1 was in NYC. Keith, as always, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again next week.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you, Keith. Keith Smith with us every Thursday talking the NBA, and that was candid and honest about the Grizzlies.
Yeah, no, very, very. And I think he brings up some really good points about it.
That's Laravia, right?
Sure. I mean, I think there's several guys that you can point to in the past and point and point to maybe for the future of guys that this front office has shown they have a loyalty to guys that they feel like they drafted and they want to stick with those guys for better or for worse.
Opening night, the core three. Mm-hmm. I call them the kind of big three.
Sure.
How many's back?
I will say 2, but I'd prefer it if it was 1.
I'm going to say 3. I got to see it to believe it.
Yeah. I think you're probably right, just because, like Keith just said,
we're comfortably numb with them.
Very. And I mean, I think you hear reports and stuff from people that cover this team and that are around this team a lot, and they say that it feels like maybe this offseason work around the edges, and then if it's not any better, then make the big time change next year.
And if I'm right, and all 3 return at media day, the questioning whatever satellite players they put around them.
Sure.
When Zach Kleiman said, we're not close, whatever example people is going to use, find the player that will be there. So that makes us closer.
Right. Yeah. And I don't see many players that are going to do that if you're just working around the edges, because, I mean, you look at a lot of these guys that, are playing roles for the Grizzlies, and it's not huge contracts. It's not anything that would, be able to bring in a bigger name.
Ja goes nowhere because it would torpedo ticket sales, suites, signage, etc. Jaren goes nowhere, but you don't replace that production. Just that stat line. If you didn't watch every game blow by blow like we do, you just look at those results. You don't go out and replace that with just anyone. It's very few you can. Bane's not replaced. How valuable is he to anyone else? What's he bring back in return?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, those are really good questions, and could definitely point to none of those three being moved.
So only Taylor Jenkins, the big change.
Yeah, and I would not be surprised at all if that is what happens. It's not what I want to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is what happens.
2026 already here at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. First exit on Highway 78. That's Kraft Goodman Road after crossing to Mississippi, and you're there. Head there for all the new 26 Equinox, and if you want a Silverado, they have them. Nobody with more new Silverados than All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. Where all the Chevys are, May is your month to finance your new Silverado. As low as 0.9, less than 1%. That's what you get at All-Star. Your good credit deserves it, and that's why you get it from the great people at All-Star. If you're law enforcement, recent grad, first responder, healthcare worker, military, educator, all the people that the Showboats will be properly honoring on Saturday, all you people, you get an extra $500 bonus back that fast. All-Star with every pre-owned truck and SUV you can be looking for. If you don't see it, ask Jeff, ask Drew, ask any team member there, and they will find it, and they'll find it fast for you with all their contacts. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star in Olive Branch, and you'll get the most money back for it. Wherever this summer takes you, Drew DePriest and his team and everyone at All-Star in Olive Branch wish you and your family happy and safe travels this weekend in commemoration of Memorial Day. Together, let's drive something from All-Star. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com.
Well, let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk some baseball.
Everybody, 2026 is already here at All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch. Come out today and drive one of these all-new 2026 Equinoxes. Did you say Silverado? Nobody has more new Silverados than All-Star. I'm out here in Olive Branch today where all the Chevys are. And May is your month to finance your all-new Silverado as low as 0.9. That's less than 1%. And your good credit deserves it. If you're law enforcement, first responder, healthcare, military, education, recent grad, you get an extra $500 bonus. And All-Star has every pre-owned truck and SUV you're looking for. If you don't see it here, ask Jeff and he will find it fast. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it here to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch and get the most money for it today. So wherever this summer takes you, Drew and everybody here at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch wish you and your family a happy and safe travels. Together, let's drive. Visit All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Welcome to Fat Larry's in Bartlett. Come in today for award-winning barbecue and so much more. Catfish, steak burgers, chicken, certified prime Angus beef steaks, along with all the sides, homemade rolls, delicious desserts, beer, and service that is out of this world. Fat Larry's cooks everything made to order just for you. Dine in or order online at fatlarrys.com. We're the best barbecue, southern cooking, and friendly atmosphere in town. Family owned and proud of it. Fat Larry's, conveniently located at 7537 Highway 70, just west of Appling.
Is your captain speaking? The passenger with air fast off you or who?
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Air fast works fast. Move down the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Over, Carol.
Makers of Miralax. New Miralax soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go
traffic brought to you by Raleigh Tire Auto Service, your local family-owned business for over 60 years.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It looks much better on 40 East out past Chambers Chapel, where it's a little bit slow earlier. Now it's just a normal build-up, trying to build out towards Fayette County on 40 going eastbound, especially coming past Sycamore View Road as you get off 240 onto 385 Billmore Parkway. That's starting to build towards Collierville. Weimer's Jewelry wants you to know they are your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season, which is just around the corner. Go by and see David and his family at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We're back in Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios, and a lot of baseball action across the country, whether it's college or even Major League Baseball. A handful of MLB games already in the book, some going on right now. Only a handful of games later tonight. One game that has already been rained out, Orioles and Red Sox. But in the SEC today, we mentioned it earlier, Texas A&M, a 3-2 win over Auburn. Texas and Tennessee going right now. Texas with a 4-0 lead in the top of the fifth right now. Tennessee came into that game as big-time favorites over Texas, but right now the Longhorns in control. A good time if you're a baseball fan. I mean, plenty to watch all over the place. Take your pick.
Daylight to dark,
That's right.
isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot of fun. So.
Texas, the motivation for them, maybe not as much. They're at home all the way through.
Yeah, and I
until
think,
going to Omaha.
Yeah, that's the big question for some of these teams in the SEC.
Auburn probably the same.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. And I think that's a lot of these teams in the SEC, especially the ones that have getting started today or tomorrow. Is what is that motivation factor? Do you really want to go through the SEC tournament? And
Arkansas wouldn't mind turning around and going home.
No,
they don't want to lose to Ole Miss.
Certainly not. But
and Dave Van Horn doesn't want to lose to Mike Bianco, but it's not going to crush them.
Yeah, but I think
they're at Fayetteville all the way through.
Yeah, you look at Texas, you look at Arkansas. I mean, I think those two are the two biggest teams that they feel absolutely comfortable, whether it's next weekend, the weekend after.
LSU?
They've got, those probably are the three that feel super comfortable.
It's just Ole Miss really playing to host. Do you think they've done enough to have advantage over? They should over Florida. They defeated them four times.
I think they're over Florida for sure.
What about Bama? Didn't play.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
do they need to add an Arkansas win to the resume?
Certainly help. I mean, that would certainly be great. I am not
almost no way to work all the way through to Super just next weekend in Oxford.
Yeah. No, there's no way they could host Supers. But yeah, I think they're in a good spot to host next weekend.
Do you think UTSA could make noise if they got in?
They could.
As a second seed, probably would be the 2 seed. In Austin?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, would they be a 2 or would they be a 2? I mean, or would they be
might be a 3?
More of a 3. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe. I think they could certainly knock somebody off. I mean, heck, they beat
Southern Miss
Texas
will be tough
A&M
for somebody.
Yes, yeah, I mean, there are some really good teams. Austin Peay is going to be tough. Tough out for somebody, their team that I've watched a lot this year. There's always that kind of mid-major team that surprises somebody.
You really deserve like special seating category at Austin Peay.
Oh, I'm an Austin Peay fan. I've decided they are my secondary college team.
If you go to a football game, that you ought to be recognized at halftime.
I don't know if I can swing a football game. I can maybe, but I did last year. I was like, we ended up going. Me and my girlfriend went down to North Alabama to see the game. But I told her multiple times, I was like, we're going to go to North Alabama this weekend. We're going to go to Austin Peay next weekend and catch them. And she was like, I'll go to pick one or the other. I'm not going to both. I was like, okay, well, we can go and catch North Alabama.
It's a lot of Austin Peay.
It's a lot of Austin Peay, but they're fun to watch and they're good in baseball. And it feels like I saw, forgive me for looking at at baseball bracketology this morning, but I did see that.
I didn't. Tell me about it.
They were Austin Peay was a 3 seed is what they were projecting.
What regional against what one?
I don't remember. I looked at it very quickly. I did not.
Well, that's what got Arkansas last year in SEMO.
Right. You're absolutely
that
right.
league, that same league, isn't it?
No. They're in the SEMO's OVC and Austin Peay's A-Sun. But yeah, I mean, 2 really good teams. That what SEMO was last year, what Austin Peay is this year. I mean, there are a handful of teams that I think mid-major teams that can
when
make
the SEMO pitcher was throwing it too slow.
That's right. Yeah,
according to Arkansas analysts.
I forgot about that. Yeah, the rare throwing it too slow.
Greg Maddox went to Cooperstown throwing it too slow.
That's right. It's insane. But you know what? Whatever you want to tell yourself.
Yeah.
To make you feel better about getting beat. But yeah, no, I'm not gonna. I can tell you, we can go back and forth for days about basketball bracketology, and I can tell you, well, this team feels good, this team not. I can't tell you that with baseball. I'm just not. I'm not there yet with
Rockies
all the
lose
baseball.
again.
It's welcome to Thursday. You know, it's
playing 160 baseball.
Different day, same result. And I'd hate to be the Rockies because not only is your team on the field terrible, now you got fans trying to do lawsuits against you for being bad. I mean, it's just no winning for the Colorado Rockies right now.
Well, the Cubs would have been broken for a lot of years if that was the case.
Yeah, luckily for them, I guess no fans got hit in the face with foul balls. But no, some good.
Used to we just wear bags over our
That's right. Yeah.
faces at Saints games.
Yeah, I don't know if that protects you from foul balls. It might though. But I mean, maybe a win for the Rockies, only getting beat 2-0 and out hitting the Phillies 7-4. I mean,
no, it's not a win.
I mean,
2-0's the key part.
Rare moral victory for the Rockies today. I don't know.
Blue Jays 7-6 over the Padres. Padres in about a bigger lull that they've been in.
Mm-hmm.
They're in that last wild card spot. Nobody's paying that close attention to.
No.
And there's going to be a lot of people in contention for National and American League wild cards.
Sure, yeah.
They want it that way.
Yeah, it feels like it's pretty wide open, and you know, there's a lot of teams we can point to of you know, in May they're having a rough time, and then they'll probably be, you know, just smoking folks down the stretch and in the playoffs. But you know, the Mets, Landon's team, they're a team that's been struggling offensively over the last couple of weeks, and obviously the now a lot of people kind of wanting to point out Juan Soto and some of the things he's doing. But you know, there's a handful
I think
of
it's
teams.
a little much. Talked about it the other day that you know it's May.
Sure.
I will look at the standings Monday of Memorial Day for about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Then I'll look at them on 4th of July for about 5 seconds.
Sounds about right.
Then Labor Day
Sounds
it's starting to codify.
Yeah,
it's starting to matter.
That sounds about right about what you need to do. Because I mean, right now it matters, but it really doesn't. I mean, it's this long of a season. We won't even remember what happened, and we won't even remember that the Padres had a skid in May, or that the Mets were Juan Soto wasn't hustling on a random Monday night in Boston in May. Like that's not going to matter then. So no, I like the way you go about standing watch, I guess we can call it. But no, I mean the games are fun though. I mean you look at the games that have already taken place, some fun series that are either wrapping up or just getting started. You look at later tonight, Mariners and Seattle Mariners, Seattle, that's the same team. Mariners and Astros later tonight. That should be a fun series that gets started. Obviously, Mariners been playing well. Astros, 1 game over 500, looking to roll. And, you know, we'll see a couple other games tonight that could be fun. Braves back to 500. It feels like either tomorrow or Saturday, Sunday, Ronald Acuna will be back in that lineup. You know, how is he able to help that lineup? Does he give them that spark? That they, you know, they've been playing well. They're back to 500 after a really poor start. But, you know, what kind of spark does just having him back in the lineup, you know, other guys able to see, you know, we got Acuna back in there. It feels like that's one that could help the entire team when it comes to the plate.
For a lot of people, Memorial Weekend really kind of is the beginning of big league baseball for them to travel to the long weekend in St. Louis at home. I'll be watching the attendance, both real and reported. I can understand early in the week why they struggle, weather and everything that occurred around St. Louis with the devastating storms. But this weekend, this is when, you know, from that 7-8 state footprint that the Cardinals have, this is when they usually pack it out. The weekends from here on, that's Kentucky and Indiana and Mississippi and Arkansas and Tennessee and Oklahoma. You know, the the Midwest, their footprint, showing up for those games. And if it's sparse, then I think the Cardinals know they have trouble, and that would be full recognition of it.
Yeah, and you make a really good point with the Monday holiday. It's just even more of a reason for people to, load up the cars and get up to St. Louis and check out all the action because, they can get back and not have to worry about having that quick turnaround to start the week. And, a good Diamondbacks team coming in, and I was just looking at the pitching matchups. Some good pitching matchups over the weekend.
It is. It's not the Dodgers coming in, but it's decent.
No, but it's really good. And so, yeah, I hope that draws people out and gets people engaged. But you're right. I mean, it really is around this time is when people start going, oh yeah, let me tune into the Major League Baseball. Let's try to get to a game. And nothing wrong with that. An extremely long season and start of the summer. So hopefully we see some good things, especially from the Cardinals who've been playing really well. And I'm really excited to see what they can do this weekend. A series at home against a good D-backs team. But only a couple games left today. Like Brett mentioned, games going to get started here in about an hour or so at about 5:40. That next game gets started.
Mostly basketball tonight.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a lot of basketball with that game. You've got the NHL in action as well. So kind of pick your poison.
Full house cleaning with Toronto today.
Yeah, I mean, deserved.
Heads rolled
after what they did.
They knew I was done.
Well, I mean, when they lose Brett, they got to make changes. So definitely some changes coming there. And but yeah, you pick your poison tonight. What playoff series you want to watch, basketball or hockey?
Who goes in hockey tonight? Help me.
It's Carolina and Florida.
The Sunshine Series.
And that's right. So Florida got the first one on the road, and they look to go up 2-0. Hockey's been really good.
The other one's mostly sunshine.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of sunshine. And what Dallas did last night in that third period was insane. 3 goals. Oh man, 3 goals in the first 7 minutes of the third period. It was
Edmonton's not winning it, so it stays since '93.
It feels like it. I mean, I'm not going to eliminate Edmonton just quite yet, but last night that was one that could. That one could have a lasting impact for sure. But, it's going to be a lot of playoff action tonight for sure. Before we get to a break, I need to remind you that the weekend is here. And how about that? It's a long weekend. So just more opportunities for you to head out to Bell Tavern. It's the perfect spot. Go out for the night with some friends. Catch all the action with the TVs they've got. You can check out the playoff action. You can check out the baseball action over the weekend. Located at 117 Barbaro Alley, Bell Tavern. It's the perfect bar for that night out. It's not one of those loud, rowdy, obnoxious sports bars that you've probably gone to your entire life. No, Bell Tavern is the complete opposite. You're going to go there. It's not going to be loud, rowdy. You can relax. You can enjoy that night, whether it's with friends, whether it's by yourself. You can enjoy the night, and you can do it with one of their great cocktails in that quiet, dimly lit bar. But it's not just the drinks. Bell Tavern has the best bar food in Memphis. Pair one of their gourmet burgers with the coldest beer in the city for a perfect night out. For more information about our friends over at Bell Tavern, give them a call, 901-249-6580. That's 901-249-6580, or go online to belltavern.com. Well, we need to get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199. Pools, and more pools. Yes, it is pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure is already booking pool installs, so you need to buy now and get on that list. 24-foot pools start at $19.99 install. Liner
tires are starting at $2.99. You're going to need some pool accessories, so they're all up to 20% off. Not quite ready for a pool? That's fine. Get a 5 or 6 person hot tub starting at under $7,000. You can also go for a swim spa or perhaps a cold plunge tub. Those are now $2,000 off. Get patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets. Buy your pool now. Get on that install list. Mention this commercial, and your install is free. It's underlined in the in bold print, so you know it's big. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 big airlines and the largest match ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Raleigh Tire Auto Service is your local family-owned business for over 60 years. They are still committed to the highest quality products and service. All changes to engines, Raleigh Tire can get it done. They have tires for cars, trucks, SUVs, trailers, even lawn and garden tires. Don't get bogged down by ordering the wrong tires online and overpaying. Take advantage of their 6-month sales cash offer. Cordova, Collierville, Olive Branch, Arlington, and online at RaleighTire.com.
Extraordinary events come once in a blue moon, and right now, even the most extravagant luxuries are well within reach. The one and only May sale is back at Sissy's Log Cabin, and you can save up to 50% on nearly everything in the store. This is your chance to get the service, selection, and experience that makes you feel like family. But hurry, the best pricing of the year ends May 31st. Don't miss the one and only May sale at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgess. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous? Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in the 32-ounce jar. It's so good to base or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or in our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. And she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from the Mediterranean diet to steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meat. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper is more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with the perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it. A beloved family affair is still going strong since 1948. Rendezvous. Sportstime on Sports 56 and 95 once again, Paul Edwards and Ryan Davis.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
My big number today is the number 970. So
I would have lost a bet today. I thought we'd have the same one.
Okay.
We do not.
All right. Different big number. My big number, 970. NBA teams were 0 and 970
We're close,
when
though.
down by 14 or more points in the final 2 minutes and 50 seconds of regulation in playoffs over the last 27 postseasons. They are now 1 and 970 because of the Pacers' comeback last night.
Everybody dusted off those comeback numbers.
Sure did.
Mine's gone all over the world. It is 14-14. 1,414. That was the record of teams that trailed by 9 or more in the final minute of fourth quarter or overtime of a playoff game since 1998. It is now 1 in 1,414.
Crazy. It's just insane. I mean, and like I was thinking about
I think it's very damaging to the Knicks.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, like you just mentioned with hockey about how that's the type of loss that can stay with you. This is certainly the type of loss that can stay with the Knicks.
Stays with the fans.
Oh, it
we're
certainly
pretending.
does. You know, I was thinking about this either last night or earlier today after that losses. I'm almost getting tired of all of these stats about the Pacers and first team in forever, one in however many.
Well, they've checked them off.
I mean, it feels like every other game, it's some massive comeback, and it goes back to both these teams have that big time moment clutch player that can step up. They're clutch teams. Forget about
have
just
solid
players.
coaches that have been there.
Exactly, and that's the biggest thing.
Not sitting over there being nervous Nellies.
Right. Yeah, and so I mean they have playmakers. They've got those guys, and going back, I've said it a couple times now. This really feels like that. Do not flip the channel when one team is up by 14 points with a couple minutes left, because no lead feels safe in this series, and that makes me think we're going to get a long series and a fun season. That's at least what I'm hoping we get.
Here's who you can't blame last night's Knicks loss on. It's Jalen Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know he only made 1 3, but look at that box score.
Yeah. No, I mean, no, you can't blame him at all. I mean, he has been the star for this Knicks team all season and all postseason, and he was good again.
We're gonna blame the guy with 43?
No, I mean, and that was the crazy thing is you look up and you watch this game, and then you look at the box score and you see Brunson with 43, Karl Anthony Towns with 35
turnovers for Brunson.
Yeah, well, I mean, NBA, everyone's turning it over at times,
and they're blitzing him every time he crosses midcourt.
That's right. I mean, if you look in and you saw Jalen Brunson with 43, Karl Anthony Towns with 35. Throw everything else out. Don't
remember,
even look at anything.
we closed last night. I asked you, do you want Cat in the post or the three? He did both.
Yeah, he did. He was great last night. You look at 4 for 8 from 3. Was down low, had 12 rebounds. I mean, he really did everything. How about Josh Hart getting after it with 13 rebounds last night? I mean, this was it was a fun game for both sides, and I thought both teams had their moments where they looked really good. It was just unfortunate for the Knicks that it had that collapse at the end, and they go on to lose.
I think devastating to them.
Oh,
I think
could be.
To their psyche, to the fans, the bravado. And it ended up being yet another all dressed up, but they didn't go anywhere.
That's right. I mean, read the numbers again, whatever stat you want to look. We were a minute away from, crowning the New York Knicks. What a great game, double-digit win. They were fantastic last night.
You start sending stuff through the shredder for the ticker tape parade.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It could be just a devastating loss, and it could be one that we point back to at the end of the series and say, Game 1 started it. It was that. It was that.
2-0 breaks their back.
Oh no question. That's why I mean and that could even more pressure because they know what happened in Game 1. They had Game 1, and now all the pressure is on them. Even more pressure because you can't go down 0-2 and go back to that opponent's arena.
The finger pointing blame game by all the media lovers of you a few days ago, they all turn on you.
Exactly, very quickly. And now all the talk is, look at Indiana, they're going to go to the NBA Finals. So, that could have been a detrimental loss last night.
I know this summer we want to start our summer off great, and Drew DePriest and his team at All-Star, they want you to start it in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. They wish you and your family happy and safe travels all summer. 2026 already here at All-Star. Come out today and drive one of the all-new 26 Equinox, a Silverado. They have them. Nobody with more new Silverados than at All-Star, where all the Chevys are. You can get 0.9. May is your month to finance for a new Silverado at 0.9. Your good credit deserves it, and you'll get it All-Star with every pre-owned truck you can imagine, every SUV you can be looking for. If they don't have it, they'll find it fast. And if you're law enforcement, recent grad, educator, military, healthcare worker, first responder, instant extra $500 bonus back. If you want to trade your vehicle, even if you didn't buy it there, that you'll get more money for it at All-Star from Drew and his great team. Jeff, all the members of the All-Star staff, wishing everyone a great, safe, and the commemoration of Memorial Weekend this weekend. Together, let's drive something from All-Star. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com.
Some college basketball news coming out. Darian Williams, who played with Texas Texas Tech last year, tested the draft, ended up taking his name out. He has committed to NC State. Curious what this means. I'm curious the estimated amount for Darian Williams. Obviously,
Me too, because Texas Tech's not backing down from anyone.
No, certainly
NIL.
not. And so, with him going to
Football
NC
or
State,
basketball.
yeah, what does that mean for now NC State's NIL money, and what does that mean for PJ Haggerty?
Everybody wishes they had a guy that sold his business.
Oh man!
And his take was $4 billion,
Yeah.
and he's told the Texas Tech athletic department whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I want to win and everything.
Every school would love to have somebody like that. And
Oh.
a few do. Texas Tech certainly does. So I'm curious what that means. We've also heard that Kansas State now in the mix for PJ Haggerty. So that is definitely news for NC State. A big pickup for them. A guy that averaged 15 points per game, 5.5 rebounds last year for the Red Raiders. Well, speaking of PJ Haggerty, we got to get to a break. When we return to start our third and final hour, Greg Gaston, he'll join us. We'll talk Tigers next.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Orange Days delivers the savings you need for the life you love. Shop a wide selection of equipment at your local dealer, including America's #1 selling compact tractor. And get your perfect match delivered to your door. Designed for comfort and built for performance. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,000 off select compact tractors. The sales ending soon. See the details at KimonoOrangeDays.com.
Gossett Volkswagen's got it going on, so get over to Covington Pike and you'll save big on 2025 Jetta S. We Gossett $299 a month, $299 a month for Jetta. How about 2025 ID4S Limited, $399 a month, $399 a month for ID4S Limited. And feel the vintage vibes in 2025 ID Bus for less. Electric Bus, $599 a month. Plus, Gossett Volkswagen has lower cost of maintenance across 2024 and 2025 lineups compared to 2024 Toyota or Honda. So make the smart choice. Get to Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike, online, GossettVWMemphis.com. Gossett is charging forward and charging less every day. If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Volkswagen.
MSRP 24125, ID4 SC002503, MSRP 47261, Buzz SHO 13379, MSRP 61980, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Good afternoon. As traffic lets out of Midtown has picked up a little bit more here in the last few minutes. 40 west at Danny Thomas, headed across the I-40 bridge over into Crittenden County as you work your way into West Memphis. Starting to pick up even more. 240, hopping on to 385 Billmore. Parkway continuing outbound. Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters this coming bridal season. Stop by and see David and his family at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is Original Sports Station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Once again,
Say you stand by your man. Tell me something.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. And we got to talk Tigers. A lot of Tiger news out there. And joining us like he does every single week, Greg Gaston.
from the Tiger sideline, it's Tiger Talk with Memphis broadcasting legend Greg Gaston. Hear Greg weekday mornings on Sports 56 mornings, along with Guy Savoy from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. On Twitter at Greg_Gaston. Here's Greg with Bryant and Brett.
Greg Gaston joins us now to talk Tigers. Greg, thanks so much for joining us. Let's start with the commitment earlier this week. Curtis Givens, he committed to Memphis earlier this week, a Memphian that left MUS early, went down to Montverde, then started his collegiate career at LSU last year. Only averaged about 4.5 points, but saw playing time in pretty much every game for LSU a season ago. Now he joins this Tiger team. What do you make of the addition of Curtis Givens?
Yeah, good afternoon, gentlemen. Great to be back with you. That's a great pickup for Penny Hardaway. That's a guy they certainly went after coming out of school, out of Montverde, as you mentioned, a Memphian, goes to LSU. So LSU beats out Memphis and other schools for his services. And then, as you said, averaged just under 5 points per game. So did get some opportunities. Certainly wasn't a guy who was not getting any playing time, but maybe a little bit lackluster, and then saw the opportunity to come back home. And he's embraced it. He's saying all the right things. Penny certainly is excited about having him, having the possibilities. It's a 4-star guy, so it's a high recruit for Penny, and he has the ability to be a really good player. It's interesting because he obviously didn't pick Memphis coming out, but now all of a sudden talking up Memphis. So sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So hopefully he'll be one of those players from the area that ends up putting together a really good career at the University of Memphis.
And Greg, we saw how much the team, the fans, really gravitated to, particularly Alex Lomax, but even Malcolm Dandridge. And the fans liked the notion of, and in reality, Memphis players out there. So with Curtis Givens and with playing, it looks like it's going to be Arkansas in the St. Jude game that will be the exhibition game, won't count, but we know Louisville will count. So Memphis player, Louisville, Arkansas, that's got to start drawing people, doesn't it?
That's a great point on both ends, Brett, with the schedule and with the individual. What I have heard, and I think everybody can notice this for the most part, rosters are completely being overhauled. And talking to some folks that are within the program for the University of Memphis, they realize how tough that is. And there's no familiarity with these players for fans. It's new players, and most of them recently have been coming from places outside of Memphis. So you don't have, one, the familiarity of the player having played in the area, but number two, it's not a player returning for a second or a third or even a fourth year. So it's all new, and it's very tough because fans want to feel like these players are family to them, that they know them like the back of their hand. So even though Curtis Givens III did not play in Memphis last year, played at LSU, the familiarity with the name, with what he did at MUS before he moved on to Montverde, I think is extremely important. Look, if you can get local players that can play, it's the best of both worlds. but those players aren't always available. So that was a great get. As far as the schedule is concerned, yes, whether it's exhibition or not, and it will be, at least from everything we've heard, and John Calipari was here recently with the Hogs Caravan, that's great. I mean, anytime, again, you can localize it or regionalize it, the connection, obviously, with John Calipari, being a former Tiger head coach and a very successful one at that makes an awful lot of sense. Getting Louisville back on the schedule, a 6-game series, 2 in Memphis, 2 in Louisville, 2 neutral in Nashville, and I think that's great because we've talked about it, I think, here on your guys' show, and I probably talked about it on mornings about who would be the best team that Memphis doesn't play now outside of the conference that would make sense as far as a long-standing rivalry or a connection to the fan base, and it's Louisville. So, yes, they are doing everything they can to try to strengthen the schedule and also, as far as the roster is concerned, localize it if those players fit what Penny Hardaway wants to do.
Greg, and I really fear this. If Arkansas for that exhibition game, if that doesn't do it, now I know last year it was a little bit hastily arranged, but it was still North Carolina, and it was still pretty crickets in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But Arkansas now with some advance warning, advance ticket sales, John Calipari, that whole angle, between that and Louisville that will count and will matter. If those two, if I'm not talking, we're getting down to, well, scan counts 9 and they said 14. No. It's got to get up there 15, 16. We know, no doubt about it. Everybody, nobody's intelligence insulted about the crowd. If that doesn't do it, then we've hit a new set of cards with the Tigers.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned with that. I'll get to that in a second. But your point about North Carolina last year, yeah, it's a big name. It's North Carolina. But 2 things. One, put together very late. So it wasn't a lot of time to get the word out, but still very disappointing with that crowd, especially when you throw in the fact it's for a worthy cause. Mm-hmm. It's for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. But I think there's the negative connotation that comes with exhibition or pre-season game when it comes to
no doubt.
NBA.
You're right.
Right? People are like, wait, if I'm going to spend money, I'm going to spend money for a real game that counts on their record rather than an exhibition. But I think people need to look and think outside the box. And when you got Calipari, the master salesman, he will try to do what he can. I think he will because there's still a place in his heart for Memphis and for St. Jude.
For sure.
And if this comes through, I think he'll sell it. And certainly Penny will do what he can do it. Hopefully it'll be a much bigger crowd. It needs to be a much bigger crowd. Louisville, you're right. I mean, that's a rivalry. That's a long-standing rivalry. And if you can't get a big crowd for that, you're certainly not going to get a big crowd for, I don't know, Missouri, or let's say they go Dayton from the Atlantic 10, or pick your poison, right? It's going to be extremely hard. And that's my concern, Brett, that I don't think it's because of anything that Penny's doing, although more trips to the NCAA tournament and wins will certainly help. But I still think that there is just this trend that a lot less people are buying tickets to go to live sporting events. Football's still pretty darn good, but other sports have been hit. People have been hitting the wallet and the pocketbook, so that is concerning. But yes, if you put a really big-time winning program on the court and get excited about opponents, people will still find their way to the arena. But I don't think we're going to see the days of 17,000, a full house. It's just, I don't know. Maybe one day we'll get another 1 versus 2. But until then, I think you got to hope to get, if you can get 12,000, 13,000 people in there solidly, that's great in this day and age. Because, again, you got to take into consideration the size of the arena. But the days of packing that house or getting close to it anyway, or putting in a consistent 15 to 17 against really good opponents, I think those days are over.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying packing it, but being more than 6,000 like last year. Greg Gaslin with us on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. He's with us every Thursday, and we're glad to have him back. Last week he was at the PGA Championship in Charlotte. Greg, last week, did you go to the Cal event when he was in town, to the Arkansas event that he was there for?
No, to be honest with you, I think it happened before I left, but I had no idea. Usually I'm up on that, especially when I was doing TV. We were there for every caravan. Big Orange Caravan, Ole Miss rolls through, Mississippi State. And now that I'm not, it's not really a
I didn't
video
go
thing
either.
for me.
I didn't go either.
Yeah,
But
so
at that
I
event,
didn't know, but you knew, right? You knew it was coming.
I did, and we pushed it that afternoon for tickets, and even though Ghost River not a sponsor, but we still wanted all the red clad Razorback fans in the area to go out and have the summertime fun at the hype machine. At that, John Calipari, in an availability with the local media, when asked to characterize the Penny Hardaway years, he described it as great. Would you describe the Penny Hardaway years as great?
No, John Calipari's years after the first few, that is described as great. But Penny Hardaway's years certainly leave a little something to be desired, but I think on the uptick. After the year they had last year, quite honestly, 2 years ago, the start they got off to looked like, boy, they had really turned it around, had the great non-conference against the better teams, and then flopped in conference play. Well, last year, they were able to parlay a great non-conference schedule with a bunch of wins into a conference tournament championship, into the NCAA tournament, with a disappointing finish by losing in their first game against Colorado State. But it's progress. It's moving forward. So that puts the pressure, I think, on this roster and to find chemistry and to find a lot of things, because right now I don't think anybody knows how good this team's going to be. But if they can turn this into another really good season and get back to the tournament and destroy that conference, which we know is bad, then I think we're moving in the right direction. But no, I don't think you can do that. Whether it's Cal calling it great, whether it's Josh Pastner calling for a John Calipari statue.
Come on, Josh.
There's a lot of that between coaches, right? They're always going to play it up. They're going to boost each other. But look, it's not great. Nobody in their right mind can look at that and say it's been a great run. But again, moving in the right direction.
And Josh, I said when he was here, especially toward the end, in the dictionary, beside the word hyperbole is Josh's picture.
I heard you, whether it was yesterday or the day before, and I started laughing. I was driving my car, and I love Josh. Josh comes on the show, but yeah, he exaggerates an awful lot of things, but he doesn't do it in mean-spirited. That's just the way he is. He plays up everything.
He could go crappie fishing and thinking he landed Moby Dick.
You were not holding back, Brett. I heard that.
You mentioned rosters, and this year's roster, just like last year's roster, is going to be kind of a complete unknown with so many new pieces. A lot of people thought that you would have at least one guy returning in Dante Harris, who didn't put his name in the transfer portal at the deadline. Still, obviously, the unknown with Dane Danger. But yesterday we got the news, Dante Harris entering his name in the transfer portal. Really felt like with Doug McDaniel coming in and then with the addition of Curtis Givens that maybe the writing was on the wall. Maybe there was a conversation there of just not going to be enough playing time, consistent playing time for you. What did you make of that decision? Dante Harris, who comes in mid-season last year and now after the deadline has passed has decided to enter the transfer portal.
Yeah, you're on to something, Brian. Look, the timing of this, right? If he immediately seeked the portal, okay, you can understand that he's looking to maybe cash in somewhere else if that's a possibility. But the fact that you didn't hear anything about it, and then all of a sudden Curtis Givens III is signed to add to their already 35 different guards, and then it just spelled doom right there for Harris. Now, maybe what he wanted financially from NIL was not what they could give him, maybe not what they wanted to give him, or they just were basically saying, hey, here's the door. We wish you well. Thank you for joining us mid-season last year. But it had to be something like that. Plus, they're looking at roster numbers, and they know there's a lack of size on this team as they're trying to add, whether it be Gapare from Maryland or somebody else. They're trying to add to that too. So it's a numbers game. Once you added yet another guard and Gibbons, who is going to play, I think it spelled the end for Harris. So not surprised with that one at all. And again, you keep bringing up Dane Danger, and everybody else does as well. And it would take nothing short of a miracle. Again, talking to some officials, they don't think, they hope it's going to happen. They don't think it's going to happen. I guess that's the right attitude. Don't go in there thinking it's going to, right? Prepare that it won't. And if it happens, man, that is a pleasant surprise. But I wouldn't put your hope into that too much. So again, they're playing the roster game. I know the roster could expand to 15. and will expand, I think, to 15 once the House settlement happens, whenever it happens. I mean, this has lingered on for a long, long time, but I think that's the situation with Harry.
That federal judge is very deliberative, isn't she?
Oh, my gosh, absolutely. Patience. I guess they say patience is a virtue, but I expected it absolutely once they went in and made the alterations that she asked about the roster. I thought it would be done this week, that she would vote on it this week. It may not be affirmative, it may not be approved, but I thought there'd be something, and now here we are Thursday night.
Billable
so
hours.
We got Friday.
They never lose, do they?
Exactly. There's time, but you don't want it. You don't want it to be a Friday news dump, do you? That's important. It's an important story that changes the landscape of collegiate sports.
Well, it sure does. I mean, really, one of the biggest decisions in the history of college sports,
without a doubt.
Without
a doubt, maybe the most
waits.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what's more pressing in her life.
I don't know. But,
I don't know either.
You talk about people waiting with bated breath. My gosh,
they really are. Greg, do you think the university? I said full court legal press, start threatening to sue for Danger's eligibility, but except for this, do you think they might be reluctant to do that until they get that final Malcolm Dandridge academic issue resolved?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things at play before you want to go ahead to the legal system for this. He obviously has an attorney representing him and I guess the family that's hired it. I don't know how that works, but I can't imagine the university is paying for this thing because, again, they believe that it's a long shot, that they'll land him, that he'll get this eligibility. But, I mean, the way it's going out there right now, what Zakai Ziegler's trying to do, for goodness sakes, and understandable what he's trying to do, but you're trying to change the system. You're not talking about playing 4 in 5 years, 5 to play 4. You're talking about playing 5 full years of basketball.
Yeah. This is Kurt Flood stuff, what Ziegler's doing.
Yeah.
What, say that one more time?
This is Kurt Flood type decision.
Oh, my gosh. Absolutely. Absolutely it is. So, who knows? And then how quickly will they react to that? And the lawsuit could linger. And you're talking about playing next year. I don't know. Our legal system is thorough but very, very slow, and sometimes it's not as thorough as you want it to be. But it's a good question. I would think right now Memphis wants to avoid all that. They've had their legal issues. They've had their run-ins with the NCAA. They're hoping that this guy gets a waiver. They're not feeling great that it will happen. I don't see it going there, Brett, but who knows? Nothing's off the table anymore right now with collegiate sports.
No, not at all. Talking to Greg Gassney, he joins us every week to talk Tigers. On the football side of things, Brett and I talked about it yesterday. The season over-under win totals have been rolling out around the country. One that we were looking at yesterday had Memphis' season win total set at 8.5. They also had Memphis as the third best odds to win the American at plus 500 behind Tulane and Navy. That win total, a game down from what it was last year, set at 9.5 last year, 8.5 this year. What do you make of that win total and third best odds in the American?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, third best odds in the American. I've seen also where they had fourth best odds in the American. But win total 8.5, I'm sorry, I got to go over. I have to. I got to think there's 9 wins. The teams that are really, really tough in conference, they get them all at home. Doesn't always mean you win just because you're at home, but you do get them at home. Obviously, they got a battle with Arkansas. It is not this Arkansas team that scares the bejesus out of you, even though it looks like Talon Green will be healthy and ready to go for them for another year. But I look at Troy, and Troy's certainly not a pushover, and you're playing actually on the road, which is strange. You're playing on the road at Georgia State. But again, that should be a dub. So I'm looking at dubs there. You know, even if you lose to Arkansas, I think they've got a chance to win that game. 2-1, and they have, who is it, Chattanooga? I think they got Chattanooga to open the season. Yeah, so that should be a win. I mean, that's 3-1 non-conference minimum, in my opinion. It'd be a really disappointing season, I think, if they start out non-conference play and they're 2-2. I don't see that happening. And then in conference, again, you Florida Atlantic you should beat, Tulsa you should beat, UAB you should beat. South Florida, you got them at home, you should beat. I'm not saying they're winning all these games. I'm not ready to make that type of prediction. I know it's a different quarterback leading the way, and it's going to be a different, to a certain extent, offensive system. There's a lot of new faces. But Rice, East Carolina is not the East Carolina it was when you used to go to Greenville and come back with an L. I got to go over. I got to go at minimum 9 right now, just looking at it like that, really for the first time, just examining it a little bit.
Breaking in a new quarterback, that will be an issue. Offense or defense? What is Ryan Silverfield? Is he more of an offensive coach or a defensive coach?
Well, he hangs his hat on the offensive line, so I would have to go offense. I think he's not a big, even though he'll call for the plays, but Cramsey's running that offense. The changes that they'll make this year with a multi-dimensional quarterback in Lewis will be, it'll be different than what we saw last year with Hennigan, or the last 4 years, to be honest with you, with Hennigan. But yeah, I would say Silverfield's more of an offensive-oriented coach. I mean, he's a guy that has old-school values, but has modernized and has made that transition pretty flawlessly with everything that goes on now with the NIL and transfer portal and the Wild Wild West that we have. I mean, there's a guy who's been in the NFL and has coached. So I think he mixes both the old school and the new school very well. But to answer your question, Brett, yeah, I would go offense. And this team, they want to play good defense. There's a lot of new faces, and I think Jordan Hankins has done a nice job since taking over. But they have to outscore teams, and that offense is going to be the key. And I still, again, look at that schedule and go, yeah, I could see them. It's very important for them to get to the conference championship, and you're not getting to the conference championship with less than 8 wins, or under 8.5 would be 8. So obviously you can go 8-0 in the conference and lose all 4 non-conference, but that wouldn't be the case. So I think they're going to win north of that.
Greg, think about a 4-week stretch on these airwaves, how much we will be talking about, because they're a big area team with a lot of people in our listening audience, a lot of fans, a lot of friends of the Razorbacks. In a 4-week stretch, they play ASU, Arkansas State, in Little Rock. We will talk both sides of that. The next weekend, they come to this area to play Ole Miss in Oxford. We'll talk both sides of that. Then they come here to play the Tigers. Naturally, we talk that. After they get through that, the next week they play Notre Dame in Fayetteville. And we have a lot of Notre Dame fans that listen.
Wow, Notre Dame and Fayetteville, that's going to be a lot of fun. But we do. I know a lot of Notre Dame fans. I know you do. I know a lot personally here in this area. But, yeah, look, I love Sam Pittman. Every year since, I guess his first couple of seasons, it's Pittman's on the hot seat. Who's going to get fired? Sam Pittman's going to get fired. And all he does is, coach him and do enough to get another year on his contract and to come back for another season. But I truly believe I don't believe there was a firing last year, correct me if I'm wrong, with SEC football coaches, right?
That's right.
Okay. This year, there's no way it's going 2 straight years.
No way.
No way. So, again, when you see those stories come out.
And this is his 6th year.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. I think he's great. I love the guy. But when those lists come out, his name, unfortunately, will be right at the top with Napier and a couple of others. Maybe even Venables, who knows? But certainly his name will be there, and it's kind of unfair. I mean, I think he's done a really nice job when you take into consideration again everything that's going on within that league.
Yeah, it's going to be here before we know it. Football season. How many days are we away, Brett?
93.
Okay.
Are we counting?
But who's counting?
No, I'm not counting yet, but we are getting closer to football. I really can't wait. Greg, as always, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds great, guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Greg.
Greg Gaston joining us to talk Tigers and plenty to get to with the college basketball. With all that news coming out for Tiger basketball.
Who's counting?
Tiger
I'm
football.
always counting.
Oh, you're always counting. I mean, from the end of the season to the start, you've got the number.
And with the Tigers breaking into the new quarterback, I think by the end of the year they will have that more accomplished. I think that early part of the schedule is more difficult. Even the back-to-back weeks to Georgia State and Troy. I'm not saying a loss in either one, but challenging and a lot on tape for the big home game against Arkansas.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the Tigers made the right decision of going out and getting a veteran quarterback that has a lot of experience that can kind of just be that stopgap of 1
Everybody
year.
wants that guy.
Oh yeah, and so that because I think a lot of
somebody
people,
else emerges, you got a solid backup in that guy.
Exactly, and so I thought that was a great decision by them. That especially early in the season makes it. It's challenging, but it makes it a little easier when you kind of look at who's going to be the signal caller back there. But no, it's going to be a lot of fun, and that's going to be the big question: is what does that quarterback position look like for the Tigers? Because that's going to be the biggest. When you go out to that first game against Chattanooga and you don't see Seth Hennigan in the backfield, that's going to be real different.
And that fan base now spoiled, properly rotten by this run of quarterbacks.
No, absolutely.
Back to Paxton Lynch in year 2 of Justin Fuente.
That's right.
He took over in 13.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's
Justin
different.
in 12, Lynch, the signal caller in 13.
That's right. That's right. So, it's going to be a change, but I think they've got a couple good options back there. Well, we need to get to another break, but before we do that, let me remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsor. It's Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the 2025 models like the Range Rover Sport, the Range Rover Velar, and the Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender. Available in multiple models to fit your needs, the Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to jaguarbluffcity.com, but head out there. Perfect time with a long weekend to go and test drive these beautiful vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince for Bluff City Jaguar. Let's get to a break, and when we return, we'll talk about what's trending.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Hi, it's the Herd. Not everybody who handles your personal information is going to be as careful as you are. Only takes one mistake to expose it to hackers and identity theft, and maybe that's why there's a new victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. Fortunately, there is LifeLock. They monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a LifeLock U.S.-based restoration specialist will help solve identity theft issues on your behalf, guaranteed, or your money back. Plus, all LifeLock plans are backed by their $1 million protection package, meaning LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. You can't control how diligent others are with your personal info, but with LifeLock, you can help protect it. Act now and save up to 40% your first year with the promo code HERD, H-E-R-D at LifeLock.com. That's up to 40% off. The promo code is HERD, H-E-R-D at LifeLock.com. Terms apply. LifeLock, for the threats you can't control.
Sunrise on Jefferson and Sunrise East on Poplar are by far the most popular local breakfast and lunch destinations in Memphis. If you haven't been to either Sunrise location, then your friends and coworkers know something you don't. There is simply nowhere else in Memphis where you get such a high-quality breakfast or lunch made fast, fresh, and just for you. People you know are talking about you behind your back because you haven't tasted the deliciousness that is Sunrise. And there are two of them. One of them has to be close to you, and you still haven't had the best breakfast or lunch in town. For shame. For shame.
This traffic brought to you by Raleigh Tire Auto Service, your local family-owned business for over 60 years.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Trying to get out of Midtown here in the last few minutes on 240 South. It's South Parkway. That normal buildup for this time of the evening on I-40, especially going eastbound over here at Sycamore View Road all the way out past Germantown Parkway. It's gotten heavier 240 on to 385. Dandelions, crabgrass, not a problem for lawn solutions here in the Memphis area. Call Lawn Solutions right now at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we got about 30 minutes left in today's show. I'm looking at this. There's a couple things I want to get to during this segment. But I was looking at this. We were talking about the highlights of the Indiana Pacers and the Knicks game. We were talking.
Pure classic.
Oh, I mean, it was incredible. We were talking about Tyrese Halliburton and how he played at Iowa State. And I went back and was looking. And because we were trying to remember, was he on a team that played the Tigers? They've had, a couple run-ins. Was he with Otzelberger? Was he with Prom? When was he at, what was the timeline when he was at Iowa State? And so let me just say this before I get to his college career. Tyrese Halliburton has played 6 years in the NBA, okay? This is year number 6 for him. And he was at Iowa State for 2 years. As a freshman, was not a huge factor on the team. Ken Pom calls him a nearly invisible player for Iowa State as a freshman. As a sophomore, much better, was a significant contributor to that Iowa State team. His teammate, his sophomore year, before he entered the NBA draft, was Caleb Grill, who won 6th Man of the Year this year at Missouri. So Tyrese Halliburton is in year number 6 in the NBA. And Caleb Grill, his teammate, who was a freshman that year at Iowa State, just won 6th Man of the Year at Missouri. That is insane.
That's the sport now. And Greg made the point about really the changing nature of it and the Ziegler suit.
Yep. That you're exactly right. His final year he did play under Steve Prom. His final year was the year we did not have the NCAA tournament.
2020.
So 2020 was his final year at Iowa State. And the sport has changed completely since then.
Tigers met them in one of those early season tournaments, in fall of 18?
Yeah, I think it was, let's see.
TJ Otzelberger's first year there?
Yeah, that was 22.
That recent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, 20.
Well, it does happen.
22 was Otzelberger's first year at Iowa State, and that's when they saw him and lost in that game. And that was the big turnaround for Iowa State.
Mhm.
And we've seen the coach TJ Otzelberger is
Sure have.
at Iowa. He's been incredible. I wanted to get to this. I saw this on The Athletic. They did we've talked about, it's list season for college football. Everyone's putting together lists. Everybody's doing different things. This one I thought was fun. Top 25 college football players of the 2000s. So just since 2000, the top 25 guys.
Tim Tebow has to be on there.
Tim Tebow is on there.
Darren McFadden.
I don't know if Darren McFadden was on there.
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton was
Cam Newton
on
could
there.
be at the top. Johnny.
All right, y'all ruining my game.
I'm sorry.
I gotta tell y'all.
We're just excited.
I'm sorry.
Both y'all are ruining my game.
I'm sorry.
The game is now ruined because of both of y'all getting very excited and wanting to guess. I was going to ask you if you could name the top 5, but y'all have pretty much named at least a couple on the top 5. Cam Newton was, in fact, number 1. Cam Newton is the number 1
Vince
player,
Young
according
should
to
be
The Athletic.
close.
Vince Young is 7 on this list. He is 7.
Reggie Bush.
Reggie Bush is 2.
Matt Leinart.
I don't think he was on this list. I don't know why, but I didn't include everybody on this list. I only included the top 15 and then others that jumped out to me from 25 to 15. But no, I do not have him on this list. The notables outside
RG3?
RG3 was not on this list.
Wow.
The notable guys outside of the top 15, Tyrann Mathieu came in at number 24. Brock Bowers at 23. I thought that was a little heat of the moment. I mean, great player. He was fantastic at Georgia. But we're mentioning a couple players that are really good.
I mean, might be on the Swiss Army knife list that high.
Yeah. Jaden Daniels at 21. Aaron Donald at 20.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow is very high on the list. He is number 4 on this list. Julius Peppers at number 19. Christian McFadden,
Julius
McCaffrey.
Peppers played college football in the 21st century?
That's what this is, yes.
That had to be 2000.
It had to have been, yeah. It had to have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pulling
I
up
saw
the
him in
list.
college basketball in 98.
Oh, I love a good
Sweet 16.
I love a good play in both sports.
Only player to ever play in a Super Bowl and a Final
That's
Four.
incredible. That's such a good nugget. Let's see. Where is Julius Peppers? Yep, 2000 was the
so
year
far,
that
we
he
hadn't rattled off many defensive names.
Patrick
Willis?
Patrick Willis was not in there.
Whoa.
Jadavian Clowney?
Jadavian Clowney was not in there.
Roy he had one good play.
Yeah, Roy Williams.
That was a great play, though.
It was.
Is on here. So that's another defensive player. Christian McCaffrey at 17. Chase Young.
And so far, the team of the 21st century, we hadn't named a player from Alabama.
No, we have not. We're about to, though, I believe.
Eli Manning?
Eli Manning, not on here. Marcus Mariota, 15.
Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry is not on here. Y'all are really making me question this list. That's why I brought it up.
I'm questioning it.
Because I wanted to...
but it's list season.
Well,
It's your list.
Well, what Bama players are on there?
Well, let me just make sure I didn't miss any that we have already gone through. No.
They've had
4
Heisman Trophy winners.
Yeah, and they have not had any, at least we're to 17, they haven't had any Alabama
Devontae
players.
Smith, Bryce Young, Mark Ingram.
Devontae Smith is on here. 14, Baker Mayfield. 13, Devontae Smith. So there's your first Alabama player at 13. Andrew Luck, number 12. Number 11, Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh, for sure.
Terrell Suggs at number 10. Here's one that I think...
I don't really remember T. Suggs in college.
Yeah.
I do with the Ravens.
Of course. Travis Hunter, number 9.
Ed Reed, early aughts.
Ed Reed is on here.
Yeah.
Ed Reed.
That
is
whole
number
01
6.
U
Yeah.
could be on there. Jeremy Shockey.
Yeah. Number 8, Tim Tebow.
I'd say that's a little low.
Number 7, I kind of said the same thing. Number 7, Vince Young. Number 6, Ed Reed. So there's Ed Reed.
But still no McFadden.
No McFadden. 5.
Back-to-back Heisman runner-up.
That's right. 5, Lamar Jackson. 4, Joe Burrow. 3, Ndamukong Suh. And number 2, Reggie Bush. Number 1, Cam Newton. So, a lot of notable exceptions on this list.
Cam Newton's 1 year at Auburn.
Incredible.
may be the best 1 year in college football history.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I had a
'Cause he dragged a team that frankly would have been
that's right.
a Music City Bowl team to a national championship.
I had
Good point.
my best friend at the time, what year was that when Cam Newton was playing college
2010.
football? 2010. So I was 10 years old. My best friend when I was 10 years old, his dad went to Auburn, and so he was a massive Auburn fan. I watched every single. Made sure I was in front of the television every single Auburn game, and I remember one of my parents, I don't remember now who, was buying a car during, I believe it was the SEC championship game, and I was like, we gotta go, like I gotta go watch Cam play, and they were like, no, we're in the middle of something, and
it was something.
They had a TV in the corner, and I politely asked them to change it to CBS so I could watch the conference championship game.
Every weekend, I don't think he was that known until the LSU game.
That's right.
Back up to Tim Tebow.
Sure was, and stole
At
computers and had to go JUCO. No, I mean it was crazy.
And almost signed with Mississippi State. It was really close. So
really,
whatever happened. It was close to him going to Mississippi State. And Kirk Herbstreit said on game day later that year that if he had gone to Mississippi State, they would have been in the national championship hunt.
Oh, I believe it.
Wherever he goes.
I believe it. Yeah, he was that type of guy. No matter what team he was on, he would have been somewhere in the conversation.
The comeback that year in Tuscaloosa against Bama, I mean they were buried and had the strip of Mark Ingram, the momentum flipped, and he was. Now their defense played well that day too. Their big noseman almost killed Greg McElroy that day.
That's right. Who was it against? Was it against Ole Miss when he caught the touchdown
He did,
pass?
from Cody Burns from Northside High in Fort Smith.
That's one. I remember that one real well. I remember.
And the defense was great on it.
Yeah.
And the pass was phenomenal. It was in a shoebox, but northeast end zone that only about one player can make the play on a Superman athlete like that.
Crazy. I remember that one, and I remember a throw in the Kentucky game where he is being forced to the sideline. He just jumps up, leaning out of bounds, and just throws it, and it's a dart.
And he backed it up in the pros.
Oh, no,
MVP.
he was phenomenal in the pros.
In a Super Bowl appearance year.
No, he was really good. And then, some injuries happened and kind of...
And the hits he took.
Oh, man.
If it would have been a slider built quarterback, those would have been penalties. It's a little bit like how Shaq was mistreated.
Oh,
because he's so big and he can take it.
Exactly. And so it's okay. Yeah, that's fine. You're a big quarterback back there. You can take a couple hits.
And I think it cost Cam Newton a couple of years and a couple more years just to add to the back of the football card may end up costing him Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I mean, it definitely did cause him to lose.
Right now, this whole kind of positive dialogue about Cam, what it still does to Bama fans.
Oh, man.
They have one name for him. Scam.
That's right.
I don't. It was something to see. I enjoyed seeing it.
Phenomenal. Unbelievable. But yeah, so top 25 players of the 2000s. Cam Newton.
Did we ruin it?
No,
I'm sorry, Brian.
Y'all didn't ruin it. It was funner.
I'm not sorry.
I think it was better this way.
I'm not sorry.
I think it was better this way because all of the omissions that we had, we might have been guessing for days.
No Derrick Henry, no Darren McFadden's big misses.
Yeah, those are real big misses. No Johnny Manziel, which I don't.
Man, Johnny really did it 2 years.
Yeah,
won the Heisman the first year, but he was
really good,
really prolific that second year, and I saw every bit of that.
Oh yeah, well you sure did. No, you got front seat to that.
First SEC game was in Oxford.
Yeah, that's crazy. He was electric, and then I was.
That may not be right. They may have played Florida before that.
You got the college coverage of him. I took the express coverage of him.
You got the AAF.
I was sitting there.
I'd already tapped out AAF. I didn't catch him in town.
Sitting there with my Johnny Manziel jersey on when he jogs to the locker room and gets injured. Last thing, this segment before we get to a break, the passing of Jim Irsay announced last night. Wanted to just mention that. Definitely real sad and obviously a big change for the Colts. I mean, he has been a central figure.
Is Bob Irsay's story?
Please do.
A lot of people know the story, but I'll repeat it and I'll do it quickly. He was trying to shop the Colts to just about every place that didn't have a team at that time, and Memphis was legitimately in the running, and the story goes they meet for the last second, really dot the I's, cross the T's at O'Hare in Chicago. The official Memphis delegation, they meet with Bob Irsay, wanted to get out of town, kind of, do a head fake for the media. They're there. Deal's done. It's signed the papers time. And they said he was very much a gentleman, politely asked, gentlemen, please excuse me, I'm going to go to the restroom. I'll be right back. 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, they see his private plane with the Colts logo on it taxiing, and it takes off. They never laid eyes on him again.
Well, yeah.
He was out of here.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But I did not realize how young Jim Irsay was when he became general manager for the Colts. 24 years old.
Well, that was a dad deal.
Sure, of course.
And at that same time, he was de facto general manager of the SMU football program and was very involved in a lot of Pony Express stuff.
It's kind of like what we're seeing today.
Sad.
Yeah, no, very sad. Very sad news for Indianapolis.
And Peyton Manning, right on cue. And of course he would, and most would, saying and sincerely meaning all the right things, because they left pretty fractious.
Oh yeah, but definitely good to see Peyton Manning and the nice words he had to say. Before we get to this final break, let me remind you need to head down to Frontier Western Store down in Olive Branch. Family owned and operated since 1967. Frontier Western Store is your one-stop shop for some of the biggest brands in Western wear. They are the one-stop shop for Carhartt in the Mid-South, and they've also got you covered with plenty of other brands when it comes to the thousands of new shirts and jeans that they have. Need a new pair of jeans? Well, Frontier has you covered with the biggest brands from Ariat all the way down to Wrangler, and you'll love how easy it is to find the perfect style and size for you. Their pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know you'll be getting the best deals. Also, make sure to check out their world-famous boot showroom. Whether it's work boots or dress boots, Frontier Western has you covered for the entire family with proven in-stock classics like Ariat, Dam Post, and Durango. Head down to 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch and check out the entire selection. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Head down to Olive Branch and check out Frontier Western Store. Well, we got to get to our final break, and when we return, we'll wrap up today's show with Crunch Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgess. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous? Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in the 32-ounce jar. It's so good to base or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. And she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet to steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meat. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper is more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with a perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it. A beloved family affair is still going strong since 1948. Rendezvous.
For most people, saving up on a down payment can be the biggest barrier to buying a home. That's why Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with ONE+. You put down 1%, Rocket covers an additional 2%, and you're off to the races. Just call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to see how you could get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, Equal Housing Lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
pretty cool, and we're just getting started. So.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, high school.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Well, Brett, before I get to what I learned today, I got to say, I'm really excited. I heard some news before we started our show that we've got a new sponsor coming to Crunch Time. Stay tuned.
So excited.
I am very excited about what we've got coming down the road for Crunch Time, and that will be happening here soon, so just keep an ear out for that in a couple of weeks. But what I learned today, it is the new playoff format that we are going to go to for this upcoming season. Now, we know everything's out the window after next year. Everything changes completely. We'll go to more teams in, and who knows what the format will look like. But at least for 2025, straight seeding, I think this is closer to what it needs to be. I think last year, Arizona State, great story. In no world should they be top 4 seed. Boise State as the group of 5, great story. Ashton Genty was awesome. No world should they be a top 4 seed.
They should be in.
They should be
that seed.
But they should not be that seed. So I think this gets it a little bit closer to what it needs to be.
What I learned is last night, open up the history books and insert a page. Pure classic in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. If you were for Indianapolis, you have to feel really good. And if you're for the Knicks, you have to feel like you had one stolen from you, or you just gave it away. We will see if they can recover tomorrow night because they cannot fall down 0-2. Only 7 turnovers for the Pacers. I think they really deserve to win.
Yeah, no, I mean it's been fun. All
they kept fighting.
They absolutely did. But who knows? I mean, with these two teams, we could see Game 2 or Game 3 Indiana go up, and the Knicks fight back and get a win. It really feels like this is going to be a really entertaining series. What I could have done without today, this story about Boston Red Sox relief pitcher Liam Hendriks, who took to social media, Instagram, and talked about how he has been receiving death threats from his recent performances as the relief pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. This is what he posted. Just an FYI, threats against my life and my wife's life are horrible and cruel. You need help. Leaving comments telling me to commit suicide and how you wish I died from cancer is disgusting and vile. How in the world, especially a guy like this that has battled through cancer, has battled through these things, it's just a game, and those type of things just take it way, way, way too far. And yeah, I can't even believe that we're talking about death threats to any player that's playing a professional sport.
Really sad. Really is. I could have done without the Knicks defense, especially the original OG Anunoby last night. He was klutzy with the ball around the rim a couple times on some easy baskets. He had 16, but pathetic on defense. You got to get a hand up.
No, you gotta do something, and yeah, that's something that the Knicks have. They've played well defensively at times, but we saw it late against Boston, and now we're seeing it in Game 1 against Indiana. That defense has been.
Thibodeau was begging them to play deep.
Oh no, he was, and he's gonna get the most out of you. Where are you beaming?
Oklahoma City for Game 2. Minnesota wanted just one. That's all they can get now. Let's see if they can get it tonight. Oklahoma City 7.5-point favorite, over and under 214.5.
Yeah, beam me there as well. I'm really curious to see how does OKC come out. Came out a little flat in Game 1. Obviously, a quick turnaround for them from Sunday to the Tuesday night.
That's a T-shirt wearing crowd there, isn't it?
Well, they enforce it strictly.
Except for the one holdout.
That one guy.
I like that guy.
He will not put on the shirt. But, and how does Minnesota respond to adversity if they go down by double digits early in this game? Are they able to show some fight? Because really, through these first 2 series, they haven't had to put up much of a fight. It's been kind of easy against the Lakers and against the Warriors. We'll find out here in a couple hours.
Rudy Gobert, you've got to be a lot better than Game 1. Yeah. Anthony Edwards, you got to be a little bit better, too. All the college baseball we will watch. And between now and when we're back, something big really happens, doesn't it?
It feels like it. It feels like we are waiting for some big time news somewhere. Who knows when it comes, where it comes. But there's definitely a lot of news out there. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. So much to keep an eye on with the baseball, with the playoffs in both the NBA and NHL. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
think a lot about golf, and when I think golf, I think Miramichi. Did you know Miramichi Golf Course offers membership? It's a great way to play more golf for less out of pocket. Their memberships run for $300 a month plus tax, and that includes unlimited rounds and range balls, no extra card fees, priority tee time booking, and discounts in the pro shop. Oh, by the way, there's no initiation fee. Miramichi green fees, they'll allow you to choose the right rate at the right time on the right day for your needs. If morning tee times are more important, you can book up to 14 days ahead of time to reserve your spot. If rate is more important to you, there are discounted evening rates available that you can choose from. Miramichi is now open on Mondays, and you'll find the lowest rate is on Thursday. Sometimes you just need to escape the hustle and bustle of life. Miramichi Golf Course provides just the right place to solve that need. The name Miramichi means place of happy retreat. When you need a quiet, peaceful round of golf, please make your way to Miramichi.
Hey, Miss South, it's time to drive into savings at Goss and Volkswagen Germantown. And I got Marty McNair on the phone to give you the scoop.
How about a 2025 Jetta S, $299 a month?
Brand new Jetta S, $299 a month. What else you got, Marty?
I've got a 2025 ID4 S Limited, $399 a month. And feel the vintage vibes in a 2025 ID Buzz Pro S Electric Buzz, $599 a month.
And Marty was telling me earlier, Volkswagen has the lower cost of maintenance across 24 and 25 lineup.